Chapter 1619. Interesting. Tian Shanshan couldn't care less about Qiao Xian, but the reality of being outshone by someone she dismissed bothered her. Seeing Qiao Xian almost made her lose composure as a noble lady of the capital. "Miss Tian, what brings you here?" Tian Shanshan glanced at Qiao Xian before stating, "Lord Qiao has been assigned to An's province." "Madam Qiao, do you comprehend the nature of An's province?" Qiao Xian felt a surge of disgust. She never liked Tian Shanshan, and it was challenging to remain calm in the face of a woman who repeatedly coveted her husband. Even if the words sounded ordinary, Qiao Xian couldn't shake the feeling of an underlying meaning. Furthermore, the words were abnormal. With a half-smile, Qiao Xian retorted, "Miss Tian, you're not entitled to inquire about this, are you? It's none of your concern." Tian Shanshan, embarrassed and infuriated, sneered, "It appears you are ignorant of that place. An's province is infested with bandits. Countless criminals, having committed various crimes, reside in the rugged mountains. They've established themselves as lords of the mountains, becoming a formidable criminal force. Rampant violence, arson, routine for them. They consistently oppose the government. Lord Qiao as an official there will achieve nothing. Merely keeping his life is already a feat." "Madam Qiao, are you still so confident?" Qiao Xian seethed with anger. Tian Shanshan's condescending tone portrayed her as an ignorant fool. Who gave her the right to look down on others like this? Remaining silent, Qiao Xian's apparent restraint fueled Tian Shanshan's pride as she mentioned, "The official transfer order hasn't been officially issued yet, providing a chance to alter it." Having uttered her words, Tian Shanshan shot a glance at Qiao Xian. She deliberately left the statement incomplete, hoping Qiao Xian would plead with her. After a moment's contemplation, Qiao Xian inquired, "Is there any way?" She played along. "Fuer," Tian Shanshan's maid, scoffed. "This is no trivial matter. Except for my miss, no one else will assist you." "But why should my miss help you?" "Madam Qiao, do you grasp my point?" Qiao Xian responded. "Miss Tian, why don't you enlighten me? I don't quite understand your implications." Qiao Xian believed her response was suitably cooperative. Fuer cast a contemptuous glance, internally musing, "What an idiot. She's utterly clueless. Why would Lord Qiao choose such a wife? If you insist, then I'll be straightforward. You're not worthy of Lord Qiao. Why not dissolve the marriage directly? Since Lord Qiao treats you well and is now facing trouble, you should do something in return, shouldn't you? Otherwise, it would be too selfish. You'd be letting Lord Qiao down." Tian Shanshan calmly added, "Madam Qiao, An's province isn't fit for humans, and the bandits don't get along with authorities. I doubt you want to go there either. Official status is prestigious, but when weighed against your life, what's more crucial? You may not understand the meaning of going to An's province. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know and report so we can fix it as soon as possible." Chapter 1620. Im not choosing. Tian Shanshan patiently recounted the bandit atrocities in An's province, describing the killings in detail, while Qiao Xian silently listened. However, in truth, Qiao Xian was already well aware of the events Tian Shanshan described. Many of them were not as recent or severe as Tian Shanshan portrayed, some dated back a decade. Yet, Tian Shanshan presented them as recent occurrences. Upon concluding her account, Fuer sneered, "Madam Qiao, do you grasp the current situation? Only our miss is willing to aid Lord Qiao. You don't really have a choice, do you?" Qiao Xian cast a glance at her. "No need." Fuer displayed a smug smile, but Qiao Xian clarified, "I'm not making any choice." "What do you mean? What do you mean?" Qiao Xian regarded them with an awed look. "Are you expecting me to make a choice? That's absurd. Why should I make a choice? Fu retorted in frustration, don't you care about Lord Xiao's life? He's risking everything. It's not your place to make such statements. Be cautious with your words. I trust my husband's judgment. If he's willing to go to An's province, then he can. Even if there are issues, my husband will handle them. What's the matter with a few bandits? They were only bold because they never encountered my husband. When he arrives, their good days will be over. They'll kneel and plead for mercy. Tian Shanshan and Fu were left speechless. How could there be someone so blindly confident and naive? Fu scornfully remarked, you dare to think like that. Qiao Xian asserted proudly, I have full confidence in my husband's capabilities. Fu stared at her, holding back her desire to mock Xiao Yunduan. She shot a glare at Qiao Xian instead. Qiao Xian rose slowly. Let's just pretend Miss Tian never visited me. As Qiao Xian left, Tian Shanshan's face turned crimson with embarrassment, anger, and frustration. She's so ignorant and arrogant. Fu scoffed, advising softly, that foolish woman knows nothing. Miss, don't stoop to her level. I think she did it on purpose. She deliberately provoked you to upset you. Tian Shanshan smiled coldly and said slowly, you're correct about one thing. She wants to make me feel uncomfortable, but you're mistaken. She's not foolish. I believe she's clever. Tian Shanshan seemed to have grasped something. A woman like Qiao Xian, who devoted herself entirely to her husband, would easily capture men like Xiao Yunduan. She had given it her all. No wonder Lord Xiao refused to let her go. However, a woman like her was destined to be shallow. In the future, when Lord Xiao's interest waned, he would find her dull, and she would no longer capture his attention. But how much longer would she have to endure? From her persistent infatuation to her inability to break free, she could no longer turn back, nor did she desire to. Unable to convince Qiao Xian, Tian Shanshan decided to approach Xiao Yunduan herself. If you find any errors, ads pop-up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know to report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1621. As long as cousin becomes the emperor, Xiao Yunduan was perplexed. He had no desire to engage with Tian Shanshan. Spotting her, he swiftly turned away, intending to leave. Tian Shanshan felt extreme pain and embarrassment. Was she so repulsive in his eyes? He avoided her as if she were a venomous snake or a ferocious beast. Proud and arrogant, she couldn't tolerate such humiliation. Shocked and fueled by her competitive spirit, Tian Shanshan had to intercept Xiao Yunduan. Although he was stopped, Xiao Yunduan didn't engage in much conversation with Tian Shanshan. His eyes betrayed a clear disgust, nearly causing her to lose her composure. Despite being halted, Xiao Yunduan didn't entertain any discussion of his upcoming role as an official in An's province. He didn't need her so-called good intentions, and didn't want to hear them. Shortly after, he decisively left. Tian Shanshan's well-intentioned efforts went to waste. Returning home in anger and humiliation, she harbored intense resentment toward Qiao Xian. Vowing to make Qiao Xian kneel before her one day, she sought to claim everything Xiao Yunduan had done for her today. As long as her cousin ascended to the throne, everything would change dramatically. She didn't believe Xiao Yunduan would dare to resist. Tian Shanshan's heart burned anew, while Tian Shanshan's actions had no impact on Qiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan. The crown prince, hearing about it, grew displeased. He had been anticipating Xiao Yunduan to plead for him, but it never happened. He could no longer wait, so he subtly signaled his two young officers, who had joined him along with Xiao Yunduan, to talk with Xiao Yunduan. If Xiao Yunduan was in a bad mood, they were to try persuading him. The crown prince aimed to convince Xiao Yunduan to yield to his wishes. He also communicated that he had been patiently waiting for Xiao Yunduan to acquiesce. However, to the Crown Prince's surprise, the two young officers harbored long-standing animosity toward Xiao Yunduan. Fearing that he might plead with the Crown Prince, they deliberately provoked him. They had no intention of following the Crown Prince's instructions to make Xiao Yunduan give in. The two officers went to Xiao Yunduan, delivering the opposite message. They mocked and taunted him, attempting to ensure he didn't change his mind. Xiao Yunduan observed the theatrical performance put on by the two officers. In front of the Crown Prince, the two officers naturally had another pretext. The Crown Prince, displeased that Xiao Yunduan seemed oblivious to his clear intentions despite expressing goodwill, grew frustrated. When he heard that Tian family's elder miss had approached the officers, the Crown Prince dismissed it without much thought. Could Xiao Yunduan have secretly aligned with the fourth brother? Was he colluding with the fourth brother? Furious and disappointed, the Crown Prince decided to no longer concern himself with the matter. If Xiao Yunduan wanted to go to An's province, so be it. The Crown Prince was determined to see if Xiao Yunduan's reputation would be tarnished or if he would even lose his life there. Only then would he gauge Xiao Yunduan's true strength. Princess Consort, feeling sorry for the Crown Prince, obediently sided with him. To comfort him, she fabricated negative stories about Xiao Yunduan and Qiao Xian. She even mentioned with a smile that young Master Xia had developed a close relationship with her nephew, engaging in discussions about poetry and paintings with a group of scholars in the mountain courtyard. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know to report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1622. There's no one. It was evident that young Master Xia harbored a sincere desire to become an official. This realization brought relief to the Crown Prince. If he could secure eldest young Master Xia's loyalty, it would be a beneficial acquisition. Crown Prince requested Princess Consort to extend an invitation to Mr. Xia to visit the East Palace as a guest. However, Xia Jingrong declined, vaguely stating that it wasn't the right time yet. Interpreting this as a sign of agreement, the Crown Prince decided to patiently await the opportune moment. Feeling reassured, the Crown Prince looked forward to the upcoming new year. As anticipated by Qiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan, no guests or well-wishers visited them this year. Those who had turned snobbish and considered Xiao Yunduan unworthy of friendship abstained, and some even reveled in the idea of celebrating the occasion with fireworks. For those who wished to avoid trouble, reaching out to Xiao Yunduan could potentially incur the East Palace and Fourth Prince's displeasure. Preferring to steer clear of any complications, they chose to sever ties with him altogether. In a light-hearted manner, Qiao Xian teased Xiao Yunduan, turning the situation into an amusing interlude for the couple. As the new year approached, Qiao Xian decided to keep a low profile even in purchasing festive items. She discreetly instructed Li Xia, Li Qiao, and Songshi to procure necessary items for the new year in a modest manner, ensuring it was sufficient. Qiao Xian wanted to avoid appearing overly joyful or indifferent during this period, as it could potentially lead to unnecessary troubles and grievances in their lives. It was a precautionary measure to maintain harmony in their surroundings. Qiao Xian promptly instructed Songshi and Qin Yan to purchase the promised New Year goods for each family in Cloudwater Town, ensuring everyone received their fair share. The newly arrived families, including Zheng Sang's group, were not left behind. Out of compassion for the elderly, young, and her former comrades who were sick or childless, Qiao Xian requested Songshi to provide them with a more substantial New Year's gift, recognizing their need for additional support. New Year's Eve unfolded as scheduled. The small courtyard was adorned with the warm glow of 2 rows of red lanterns, casting a festive and gentle ambience into the night. The brazier inside the house emanated a lively warmth, turning the brick bed into a cozy haven reminiscent of spring when the door was closed. Amid the festive atmosphere, the small group celebrated the arrival of the new year with joy. The imminent departure from the capital after the new year brought a sense of relaxation, particularly for Qiao Xian. Despite lingering concerns about the dream involving the crown prince, she focused on the present and embraced the freedom that awaited her beyond the capital. With the new year underway, Xiao Yunduan completed the handover of responsibilities with the Ministry of Revenue officials, leaving him with newfound freedom. Deciding to forego attending court sessions, he opted to stay home with Qiao Xian. The couple expressed their desire to explore Cloudwater Town and its surroundings, visiting neighboring towns and exploring scenic mountains, rivers, and ancient temples. They were aware that once they departed, returning to the capital might be uncertain. While initially contemplating a stroll around the capital together, they dismissed the idea, considering it might appear too open. Instead, they focused on savoring the peaceful moments in Cloudwater Town before they finally left. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know and report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1623, Invitation. The two had initially planned to depart from the city after the third day of the Lunar New Year. However, their intentions took an unexpected turn when they received an invitation on the second day from the fourth princess consort. The invitation was for a banquet scheduled on the sixth day of the Lunar New Year. This unexpected development piqued their interest. Apparently, the eunuch delivering the invitation had received explicit instructions from the fourth princess consort. In a shrill voice, he conveyed, "The princess consort insists that Madame Xiao must attend. No excuses will be entertained, failure to comply will displease the princess consort." Qiao Xian responded with a smile, addressing Xiao Yunduan's father-in-law, "Please convey my gratitude to the fourth princess consort. I am truly honored that she still thinks of me during this time. I am delighted and see no reason to decline." "Yes, absolutely." Qiao Xian's expression, conveying a sense of honored acceptance, left the young eunuch feeling as though his words had fallen on deaf ears. Here to witness the spectacle and perhaps revel in their discomfort, the young eunuch couldn't shake the feeling of being observed. "Excellent. Madame Xiao, remember that," he warned. Unforgettable, absolutely unforgettable." Bah. The young eunuch departed with a sullen expression, but Qiao Xian's sneer spoke volumes. "In your dreams." The fourth princess consort might have aimed to mock and humiliate her, relishing in her embarrassment, but Qiao Xian had no intention of letting it affect her. Still, she couldn't deny that dealing with such matters was a headache. Xiao Yunduan, holding her hands, offered a reassuring smile. "My wife, just go and enjoy the spectacle." Qiao Xian looked up at him, reciprocating the smile. "Indeed, that seems to be the only way." The couple grinned at each other. After a brief exchange of words, both of them began to ease up. Xiao Yunduan expressed, "It would not be wise for you to decline. Considering we are departing the capital, I doubt the fourth princess consort would risk causing unnecessary trouble. Rest assured, my wife." Internally, Qiao Xian mused, "I am not concerned at all. Attending banquets is her specialty." "Yes, don't worry, husband." Yet, a sigh escaped her as she added, "In that case, our visit to Cloudwater Town tomorrow will have to be postponed." Xiao Yunduan burst into laughter. "Even if you go in a few days, it'll be the same. Spend a few more days here to make up for the ones we missed." Qiao Xian chuckled. On the sixth day of the Lunar New Year, Qiao Xian accompanied Li Xia to the fourth prince's mansion. This time, the situation took an interesting turn. The fourth prince's household staff guided her through the residence, making numerous twists and turns before leading her to a flower hall, instructing her to wait. It was evident they intentionally left her there. The reception hall lacked the warmth of a heated brick bed or a charcoal basin. Its cold and austere atmosphere was accentuated by its emptiness. Besides Qiao Xian and her servant, there was no one present. Given the pleasant weather, Qiao Xian decided to take advantage of it and brought Li Xia to the courtyard to enjoy the sunshine. In the yard, two robust and ancient winter plum trees blossomed at the perfect time. The golden flowers on the branches sparkled in the bright sunlight, and the fragrance filled the air, providing a refreshing sensation. While admiring the flowers and conversing with Li Xia, Qiao Xian activated her superpower to eavesdrop on the ongoings within the mansion. A cacophony of noises reached her ears, prompting Qiao Xian to retract her superpower. Utilizing it in a bustling environment proved challenging due to the myriad voices and incessant noise. The residents lacked the tranquility necessary for effective use, a drawback that made Qiao Xian feel lightheaded after a prolonged attempt. This superpower, she realized, was better suited for information gathering in open landscapes and wilderness rather than crowded places. However, within the mansion, the only discernible sounds were servants gossiping, various discussions, and envy expressed toward the madams and young ladies attending the banquet. Amidst the chatter, there were also whispers of mockery and gloating aimed at Qiao Xian. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know to report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1624. The open Gambit. Qiao Xian and her servant engaged in conversation until a maid arrived. Casting a stiff glance at them, she declared, "Madam Xiao, please come with me." Returning the look with a smile, Qiao Xian replied, "Then please lead the way." Assuming that decorum would prevail in the fourth prince's mansion, the maid proudly guided them, raising her chin with an air of superiority. Li Xia, feeling indignant, sought solace in her madam's gaze. Qiao Xian, shaking her head with a smile, signaled for Li Xia not to be bothered. Li Xia pursed her lips and lowered her eyes, resigned to the snobbish attitude. Upon arriving at the hall where the guests had congregated, the opulent and spacious room teemed with people. With Qiao Xian and her servant being the last to arrive, the madams and young ladies, engaged in cheerful conversations, collectively turned their attention toward them. A smile adorned their lips, and their eyes sparkled with anticipation, a clear indication that they were eager for a spectacle. Once a figure of envy and glory, Madame Xiao now found herself the object of their gloating pleasure. The sudden intrusion of someone who did not originally belong to their social circle, now seizing their coveted position, fueled their delight. In their eyes, it seemed normal for this turn of events. Furthermore, they collectively concluded and sighed, this is the consequence of lacking a foundation. Everything is superficial, and chaos is inevitable. Princess Consort's expression soured the moment she laid eyes on Qiao Xian. Subconsciously clenching her fists, embarrassment painted her face. Why was she here? Princess Consort harbored no desire to see Qiao Xian at all. Observing Princess Consort's reaction, the fourth Princess Consort was taken aback. She had deliberately invited Qiao Xian to surprise Princess Consort, who was known to dislike her. However, Princess Consort's response appeared to be more extreme than expected. Qiao Xian, a perfect match for the Crown Prince's hypocritical and pretentious demeanor, displayed composure, contrasting sharply with Princess Consort's overt displeasure. The revelation hinted at a strained relationship between Xiao Yunduan and the East Palace. Greetings, Crown Princess Consort. Greetings, Princess Consorts. Qiao Xian approached, bowing respectfully. Despite her tense demeanor, Princess Consort maintained a dignified tone. No need to stand on ceremony. Thank you, Princess Consort. A lady in attendance remarked with a half-smile, Madam Xiao, you are so audacious. Princess Consort and the other princes and princesses are here, and Madam Xiao arrives late. The other ladies quickly chimed in agreement. That's right. Her rudeness is unacceptable. Lacking manners is in her nature. You can't expect more. You can't excuse her behavior. She should respect her seniors and adhere to proper etiquette. This is unacceptable. If you are ignorant, it's better to stay home and avoid embarrassing yourself. She's only here because she won't have another chance in the future. That's the truth. Princess Consort's displeasure deepened, and she glared disapprovingly at Qiao Xian. Her sense of disgust was palpable. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know to report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1625, Looking for Trouble MS. Qiao had fallen out of favor with the crown prince due to Xiao Yunduan's influence, foreclosing any prospects for her in the royal court. In response, she contemplated a vindictive course of action, intending to unveil her true nature. How audacious! Qiao Xian cast a glance at the fourth princess consort, who had been gleefully witnessing the spectacle, letting others mock her. Ladies, don't envy me. The fourth princess consort treats me differently. The servants were leading me to another resting area, causing the delay. Princess consort, please forgive me. The fourth princess consort chuckled, I think I led you the wrong way. My apologies, Madam Xiao. Fourth princess consort, your understanding is appreciated. Smiling, the fourth princess consort gestured, Madam Xiao, please take a seat. Thank you, fourth princess consort. As Qiao Xian settled into her seat, she overheard a sneer. Even if the servants misdirected you, can't you inquire? The fourth princess consort is hosting a banquet, attended by the princess consort and other royals. Could you not fathom this? Hee, your lack of decorum is truly unbecoming. Hee, you'll be an eyesore in the future. Exactly. Amidst laughter and conversation, the atmosphere grew lively. However, at this juncture, everyone seemed to collectively forget about Qiao Xian, deliberately ignoring her. No one engaged in conversation with her. These were individuals from respected families, adept at subtle forms of cruelty. Rather than resorting to crass insults or attacks, they chose a more refined approach. Their familiarity with each other allowed them to inflict discomfort through complete indifference and disdain. This mental humiliation and subtle torment, though devoid of physical harm, proved potent enough to make one wish to disappear into the ground. Despite Qiao Xian's strong mental fortitude, impatience began to gnaw at her. Stuck in the situation, leaving early wasn't an option, forcing her to endure the discomfort. After some time, the fourth princess consort announced with a smile that the theater was prepared, leading the guests to enjoy the show. Praises for the well-organized spectacle flowed, fostering a sense of anticipation. The fourth princess consort basked in the satisfaction of her guests. Qiao Xian followed the group with Li Xiao. While she wasn't particularly fond of watching the show, it was preferable to enduring the incessant chatter. As they moved, someone in the crowd shoved Li Xiao from behind. Caught off guard, Li Xiao let out a scream as she collided with a young lady in front of her. The young lady, initially engaged in light banter, nearly stumbled and screamed in shock. Recovering, she turned around to find, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Li Xiao apologized earnestly. Before she could elaborate, the young lady raised her eyebrows and slapped Lixia's face, unleashing an angry tirade, You unruly wretch. What has your master taught you? The commotion drew the attention of everyone present. Covering her face, Li Xia defended herself, it was unintentional. How dare you? How dare you be so defiant? Qiao Xian took hold of Li Xia and noticed her face reddening. Gently patting her hand, she addressed the enraged lady, Li Xia inadvertently offended you, and you have scolded and struck her. What more do you seek? Being framed, Li Xia knew explaining herself would be futile. Accusations would only escalate, and she opted not to waste her efforts. Hearing Qiao Xian's words, the lady glared, sneering, What's this? Madam Xiao, are you implying dissatisfaction? Like mistress, like servant, haha. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know to report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1626, Ridicule. Qiao Xian retorted, Madam Tian, you're correct, I am not convinced. She is my servant, and you have no authority over her. Madame Tian, you're well versed in rules and etiquette, so I must inquire, whose rules are these? Are they yours? You. As the onlookers had anticipated Qiao Xian and her servant facing retribution at the hands of Madame Tian, Qiao Xian, with just a few words, effectively countered the second young Madame Tian. The audience, who had initially doubted Qiao Xian's suitability among them, were now focused on discussions about rules and etiquette. Mocking Qiao Xian seemed to elevate their sense of superiority. Though Qiao Xian directed her words at Madame Tian, some other ladies couldn't help but feel a twinge of annoyance and embarrassment. Recognizing the potential for an escalating confrontation, one individual stepped forward and pulled the second young madam of the Tian family aside, attempting to mediate. Let it go, let it go. The girl acted impulsively. It's all right to teach her a lesson. No need to be so upset. Exactly. Escalating the situation won't help. Why let it go that far? Let's not engage in further argument. To be fair, Madame Xiao might have been a bit harsh. The actions and words of the young Madame Tian were likely reflexive. Madame Xiao shouldn't have criticized her so vehemently. That's right. Who wouldn't react strongly when startled? If it were Madame Xiao, the response might have been even more intense. Madame Xiao is known for her sharp tongue. This is quite evident. It's clear your servant made a mistake. Instead of offering an apology, you seem to be shifting blame onto others. Shouldn't Madame Xiao be the one apologizing? Sigh, she won't care about that. Hee hee. Li Xiao was both angry and anxious, tears welling up as she looked at Qiao Xian with concern. Madame was defending her, which warmed her heart. However, she hadn't expected the situation to unfold like this. The matter clearly had nothing to do with Madame, she had been targeted in a scheme. Yet, these people were distorting the truth and acting self-righteous. If Li Xiao didn't know her master's character so well, she would rather apologize herself than witness her madam endure such injustices. Qiao Xian, however, wasn't about to let Li Xiao shoulder the blame. She sneered, I'm not as adept at playing the blame game as many people here. I don't know if you're scared or not, but let me ask you this, if you accidentally kill someone out of shock, does that mean the authorities will excuse you? Is that not considered murder? A person who refuses to take responsibility for their actions, instead finding excuses left and right. Even when in the wrong, they still try to justify it. I don't understand how someone can have the audacity to speak of rules and etiquette. Or perhaps you're relying on the strength of your numbers? Declaring rules and etiquette while tarnishing the very essence of those words. No matter how wrong my servant may be, I will be the one to reprimand them. But hitting and scolding without explanation is shameless. Correcting my servant's mistake and dealing with those who meddle without permission are entirely separate matters. Don't conflate them. All of you make it sound so animated. Let me pose a question. If your servant makes a mistake, should others be allowed to casually and indifferently reprimand them? The ladies seethed with anger, yet fear of Qiao Xian's sharp tongue silenced them. They dared not utter a word, lest they face further humiliation. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know to report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1627, Revenge. The second young Madame Tian had been enjoying the support from those defending her, feeling a sense of pride. However, Qiao Xian's cutting remarks infuriated her to the point of outburst. Who do you think you are? If you can't teach me, I'll be the one teaching you, given how highly you think of yourself. You're becoming increasingly audacious. Qiao Xian looked at her and remarked, Second young Madame Tian, your manners and etiquette are truly admirable. I'm truly impressed. You. Forget it, forget it. Someone quickly intervened, pulling second young Madame Tian aside and offering soft advice. Why stoop to the level of someone like her? Let it go, you're magnanimous. Don't say too much. Just then, Princess Consort and Fourth Princess Consort sent someone to inquire about the situation. Attempting to downplay the matter, everyone put on smiles, eager to avoid further complications. Most importantly, they were well aware that they were in the wrong. Being unreasonable was one thing, but challenging Qiao Xian was another matter entirely. They knew they couldn't win. The embarrassment was palpable. While they suspected the fourth princess consort might take pleasure in seeing Qiao Xian face adversity, they hadn't wronged her before and felt too awkward to voice their opinions. The person seeking information wisely chose not to delve into the matter. It was the first month of the lunar calendar, a time for harmony and auspicious celebrations. Stirring up trouble was ill-advised. Consequently, the group proceeded ahead, deliberately ignoring Qiao Xian this time. They quickened their pace and maintained a distance from her and Li Xia. Li Xia, seething with anger, whispered to Qiao Xian, "Madam, these people are intolerable. Despite their claims of having manners, is this how they treat others?" Qiao Xian smiled and shared with Li Xia, "They treat people differently from us. We value treating people well, but they prioritize wielding power." Li Xia was taken aback, covering her mouth as she chuckled. Qiao Xian joined in the laughter. The silly girl had a generous heart, and that pleased Qiao Xian. "Is your face okay?" Li Xia shook her head hastily. "I'm fine. It's my fault for involving you, don't be silly. It's not about you. What happens to me has nothing to do with you. Don't be upset. These people will face consequences." Li Xia nodded, finding solace in Madam's reassurance. Little did she know that retribution would come sooner than expected. With the theater arranged, everyone took their seats. The prince's concubines engaged in lively conversations, choosing scenes for themselves. The madams of higher status also selected scenes. The troupe promptly began performing according to the script. Qiao Xian cast a glance at the trees in the yard outside the opera house, a cunning smile flickering across her eyes. Having developed and evolved persistently, she could now control plants to a certain extent without direct contact. Although the range of this control was smaller without direct touch, it proved convenient. While an outdoor setting would yield a better effect, the indoor theater was sufficient for Qiao Xian's purposes. Engrossed in the unfolding performance on stage, everyone's attention was captivated. Even the maidservants and older women standing behind, at the sides, and along the corridor outside craned their necks to catch a glimpse of the stage. Unbeknownst to anyone, the previously bare and gray branches of a crabapple tree in the West Mansion courtyard, with a diameter exceeding 20 centimeters, were gradually sprouting visible buds. These buds expanded, transformed into delicate pink blossoms, and slowly opened, revealing their vibrant hues, one by one. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know to report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1628, Blossom. The entire transformation took less than 3 minutes. The once gray and barren crabapple tree now burst into a profusion of flowers. Pink blossoms densely adorned the branches, creating a breathtaking spectacle. The trees were now adorned with flowers, creating a vision of clouds. From a distance, it resembled a pink cloud gently swaying in the breeze under the bright sunlight, a truly beautiful sight. Once everything was accomplished, Qiao Xian retracted her power. Shortly after, exclamations filled the air. "Ah! It's blooming! Look, it's blooming! What? Can you believe it? The crabapple tree, it's blooming! Ah! Heavens, am I hallucinating? It was completely bare just a moment ago. I didn't imagine it. How is this possible? It's so peculiar. Heavenly Bodhisattva." The maidservants on the corridor were utterly astonished, their worldviews on the verge of shattering. Witnessing what seemed like a miracle, they couldn't contain their excitement, engaging in non-stop discussions. Caught up in their astonishment, the maidservants momentarily forgot themselves. Their animated conversation quickly drew the attention of those inside the opera house. Frowning, they went out to scold the maidservants, stern expressions on their faces. The maidservants, eager to share their discovery, all talked at once, pointing excitedly at the splendid crabapple tree bathed in sunlight. Witnessing the transformation, the maids and other servants couldn't help but widen their eyes and exclaim, "Oh!" Some of the elder ones even doubted their eyesight due to age and hastily rubbed their eyes, peering closely to ensure they weren't seeing things. The esteemed Auntie Tang stammered, when did these flowers bloom? Why wasn't it reported earlier?" All the maidservants burst into laughter. "You've got it wrong. The flowers just bloomed. We just noticed. That can't be possible." "It's true, Auntie Tang. When the masters entered the opera house, there was nothing there. There's no reason for all of us to see and remember wrongly." "What?" Auntie Tang sought repeated confirmations. Eventually, she sighed, exchanging bewildered glances with the others. While it might be conceivable for one person to misperceive, or even 2 or 3 to overlook something, it defied belief that a group of 20 to 30 people could collectively misjudge and misremember such a sight. Auntie Tang was about to head into the opera house to report to the 4th princess consort when a commotion reached her ears. It appeared that a lady inside had inadvertently turned her head toward the row window and spotted the pink and beautiful crabapple flowers. She cried out in surprise, capturing everyone's attention. The allure of this sight far surpassed the scenes unfolding on stage. Now, all eyes were on the blossoms. The maidservants promptly hushed, retreating to the side obediently. However, their eyes sparkled with excitement. They had never witnessed or even heard of such an extraordinary phenomenon. Sharing this story with their companions, especially those in other residences, might be met with disbelief. Princess Consort, 4th Princess Consort, and the others approached, gazing up at the pink and plump flowers on the trees. Exclamations of awe escaped their lips. A lady broke into a smile, declaring, "This is a joyous occasion, a joyous occasion. It's a tremendous auspicious sign. It signifies that the 4th prince's residence is rich in vital energy and blessed by the heavens." All the madams and young ladies beamed, joining in the sentiment. Absolutely, the crabapple tree is a symbol of wealth, auspiciousness, and prosperity. At this moment, while flowers elsewhere remain unopened, the 4th prince's residence is already in full bloom. Truly remarkable. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know to report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1629, A Fortune. These flowers, grass, and trees hold spiritual significance. Look at the vitality of these begonia flowers. The 4th prince's residence is sure to be blessed this year. It's an auspicious sign. Yes. The sentiments of everyone resonated with the 4th princess consort, filling her with joy. In contrast, the princess consort's face contorted with anger and disbelief as she glared at the blooming flowers. Good omen. Good luck. Spiritual presence in flowers and trees. Omens. The prince was born into the prosperous Tian family, and their wealth was already substantial. What more auspicious signs did the 4th prince desire? What additional good luck did he seek? Were they insinuating rebellion? But why, of all places, did such a favorable event occur in the 4th prince's residence? Even if the flowers and trees possessed life, the spiritual essence should reside in the crown prince's abode. The flattering and laughter from the ladies felt like sharp needles, each word piercing Princess Consort's heart. She could ignore other matters, they were inconsequential. However, she would not tolerate anything that cast doubt on the crown prince's position. Unable to endure it any longer, Princess Consort spoke calmly, "It's bitterly cold, so why is the crabapple tree suddenly blooming?" Moreover, it would be understandable if just one or two branches were in bloom, but the entire tree covered in flowers is certainly not normal. Besides, I distinctly recall that the crabapple tree showed no signs of blooming when we passed by earlier. In such a short time, how could it? It's truly peculiar. A hush fell over the crowd, the smiles fading from their faces. Most had come to realize the inappropriateness of praising the fourth prince's mansion in front of the princess consort. A sense of unease spread among the assembly. The madams and young madams of the Tian family, who had been the most fervent in their praise, now felt a heightened sense of discomfort. Guiltily, they lowered their heads and averted their eyes. The fourth princess consort's smile froze in response. Princess consort, on the other hand, felt a surge of satisfaction. She smiled and quipped to the fourth princess consort, "Have you orchestrated something to bring such joy to everyone?" Internally seething, the fourth princess consort had no intention of mocking anyone, especially not the princess consort. How would I know? The crabapple tree clearly bloomed. I find it quite beautiful. There's nothing strange about it. The world is filled with all sorts of peculiarities. What's the harm if a tree decides to bloom? I find the madam's reasoning quite plausible. This area likely boasts favorable terrain with abundant energy veins. The recent sunny weather and warmth have prompted the blooming, haven't they? She was not afraid of Princess Consort like others might be. It was a propitious omen, and she saw no reason to downplay it. Envy flashed in Princess Consort's eyes at the auspicious sign bestowed upon the fourth prince's mansion. However, her envy meant little. While simmering with fury internally, Princess Consort managed to maintain a composed demeanor. She smiled and remarked, "Fourth sister-in-law, your explanation seems rather baseless. If this location truly enjoys favorable conditions and warmth, there should be more than one crabapple tree here. Why is this the sole blooming tree? It doesn't add up." Furthermore, as we passed by earlier, this crabapple tree was still barren. Not a single flower bud was visible. The sudden burst of blossoms doesn't make sense. In my opinion, this is highly unorthodox. A momentary unease settled over the crowd, their expressions subtly shifting. Deep down, they found themselves increasingly aligned with Princess Consort's perspective. Indeed, this whole thing appeared highly weird. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know to report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1630. Too strange. The fourth princess consort erupted in anger and retorted with a change in expression. "Sister-in-law, what do you mean? It's the first month of the lunar calendar. Who are you cursing?" Seeing the fourth princess consort lose her composure, Princess Consort felt a surge of satisfaction. She spoke in a calm and sincere tone, "Fourth sister-in-law, I'm not cursing anyone. I'm merely offering a friendly reminder. As the saying goes, truth is often unwelcome, but you shouldn't turn a blind eye to it. This matter seems to be filled with heresy, unorthodox practices, and an air of malignancy. Fourth sister-in-law, why not consult with fourth brother and invite a Taoist master to perform a purification ceremony?" "You!" The fourth princess consort seethed. She sneered and declared, "It seems you're intentionally causing trouble during the first month of the lunar year. I find these flowers quite splendid. I'll keep and admire them. There's no heresy, unorthodoxy, or malignancy. Our prince is the scion of a dragon. Such things are unfounded. Sister-in-law, you're overthinking." Princess Consort snorted. "I'm just offering advice. If you don't value it, then so be it." The fourth princess consort grinned meaningfully. "Enough with the flowers. Why don't we return and continue enjoying the performance?" After the uproar, who would still be in the mood for the show? However, the banquet couldn't simply end there, so they all forced smiles and agreed. Princess Consort nodded with a forced smile. "In that case, please proceed. Sister-in-law, please go ahead. The fourth princess consort smiled and turned to instruct the chief palace maid beside her. Caiju, have some people cut a few of these crabapple flowers and send them to the opera house. Yes, princess consort. The fourth princess consort shot a provocative look at princess consort, clearly gearing up for a confrontation. Princess consort displayed a hint of anger while suppressing her frustration. Observing the second lady of the Tian family, Qiao Xian activated her power. A sturdy tree root suddenly emerged from the ground, discreetly nudging the second young Madame Tian under her shoes. Unnoticed by the crowd, the subtle intervention with the tree root went unseen, concealed beneath the long skirts of the attendees. To onlookers, it appeared that the second young Madame Tian was walking gracefully, likely tripping over the hem of her dress, causing her to scream and lurch forward. The maidservant accompanying her failed to restrain her, and the sudden pounce caught the two young madams off guard. The pair, holding hands and laughing as they strolled, inadvertently collided with Princess Consort. Reacting instinctively, someone took a step back, but the momentum of the collision caused the two young madams to tumble onto Princess Consort. In the ensuing chaos, Andy Fu and she, attempting to assist Princess Consort, ended up bumping into each other, failing to prevent the fall. The unfortunate outcome saw Princess Consort on the ground, a sharp pain in her palm, and a broken jade pendant that had adorned her waist. The commotion drew immediate concern from those nearby. Princess Consort, are you all right? Princess Consort. Wincing from the pain in her palm, Princess Consort concealed the bleeding wound, determined not to reveal her vulnerability. She accepted the help offered to her, all the while hiding the stained and broken aspects of her previously immaculate appearance. Despite the external assistance, the scene portrayed a stark contrast to her previous elegance, now marred by a mess of torn fabric and damaged attire. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know to report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1631. Fighting face-to-face. Princess Consort found herself in an unprecedented state of embarrassment, her face flushed with anger and her overall appearance significantly marred. Witnessing the aftermath of their accidental collision, the two young madams immediately knelt down, fear etched across their pale faces. Princess Consort, please forgive me, I didn't do it on purpose. Princess Consort, please forgive me. Facing their pleas, Princess Consort cast a cold, stern gaze upon them, her eyes then shifting to second young Madame Tian, who appeared utterly frightened. Kneeling in submission, second young Madame Tian pleaded, I didn't do it on purpose, Princess Consort, please forgive me. Deep down, second young Madame Tian felt both vexed and distressed. She couldn't comprehend what had transpired. Why had the flat ground seemingly transformed into uneven terrain, causing her to trip and fall in such a pitiful state? Upon regaining her senses, she scrutinized the ground, finding no irregularities. Perplexed, she suspected an illusion. Attempting to shift blame onto Qiao Xian, she realized that Qiao Xian stood too far away to be responsible. Forced to confess, second young Madame Tian found herself at a loss. Qiao Xian, observing the trio in their humbled state, recognized them as those who had mocked her. The notion of retribution lingered in her thoughts. However, she couldn't openly revel in it, resigned to savoring her satisfaction in solitude. The fourth princess consort relished the situation, thinking to herself, you couldn't stand our nonsensical talk, could you? Karma has arrived, hasn't it? She found satisfaction in witnessing the person who valued her dignity the most making a public spectacle of herself. Approaching the distressed trio, the fourth princess consort expressed concern, I don't believe they did it intentionally. It's the first month of the lunar year, and they've admitted their mistake. Sister-in-law, let's forgive them. How about I accompany you to change? Given the unintentional nature of the incident, Princess Consort had no grounds for punishment. Suppressing her grievances, she generously raised her hand, saying, all right, get up. I understand that it wasn't deliberate. Thank you, Princess Consort. The three of them sighed in relief and helped the maidservant to her feet. As the fourth princess consort led Princess Consort to change, she instructed the other princess consorts to invite the guests into the theater, as the show couldn't proceed until Princess Consort arrived. Taking advantage of the moment, Qiao Xian approached second young Madame Tian and addressed her with a sly smile, ensuring her voice carried enough for those nearby to hear. Princess Consort, your grace and magnanimity truly exemplify royal decorum. No need to argue with second young madam. Thankfully, Militia didn't accidentally push her down, or she might have faced severe scolding. Second young Madame Tian held her breath and shot a glare at Qiao Xian, recognizing her own wrongdoing but avoiding further confrontation. Qiao Xian smiled and walked past her with Liu, determined to find an opportunity for a comeback. She was prepared to endure mockery if it meant resisting the pressure to please Princess Consort and fourth Princess Consort. With plans to leave the capital soon, she cared little for potential consequences. She would not return anytime soon, and even if she did, she wouldn't rely on connections. There was little to worry about. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know to report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1632, The Fourth Prince's Residence is famous. Second young Madame Tian's acquaintances exchanged glances and sighed inwardly. Madame Xiao seemed too stubborn for her own good. Was she oblivious or clever? Even with Lord Xiao in dire straits, she failed to grasp the importance of maintaining a low profile, building favorable connections, and avoiding unnecessary conflicts. Instead, she seemed determined to offend others to the point of no return. This, oh well, let her be. She who is down need not fear a fall, so she might as well embrace a vicious cycle. It was wiser not to provoke her again. Mocking her further would only lead to embarrassment. Word quickly spread about Qiao Xian mocking second young Madame Tian, but the ladies viewed it with indifference. Fortunately, the situation finally calmed down. No one dared to accuse her of ingratiating herself with fourth Princess Consort and Princess Consort. Princess Consort, disgruntled, left the gathering promptly after changing her clothes. Aware of her mood, the fourth Princess Consort saw her off. With Princess Consort's departure, the audience couldn't continue enjoying the show, prompting a gradual dispersal of guests, including Qiao Xian. In the end, only a few close associates of the fourth Princess Consort concocted excuses to stay for a small gathering. The fourth Princess Consort felt thoroughly aggrieved. Princess Consort's outburst had marred the banquet, and the lingering guests couldn't help but glance at the begonia tree in full bloom. The fourth Princess Consort's heart raced with anxiety. To dispel the joy, she ordered red silk to be fetched and draped over the tree. After all, the blooming flower was deemed too peculiar. Heretical and untimely, the blossoming of the crabapple tree posed an awkward situation for the fourth Princess Consort. The incident occurred during the banquet, and its conspicuousness made it impossible to conceal. Now, she had the daunting task of devising an explanation for the public. Qiao Xian seemed to revel in creating headaches for her, preventing her from finding further trouble. The thought of presenting her with a unique gift, ensuring her name echoed throughout the capital, filled Princess Consort with satisfaction, despite harboring anger within. Returning home, she shed her cumbersome attire and erupted in frustration. It was evident that the fourth Princess Consort orchestrated this intentionally, making things challenging for her. The arrogance and meddling of the Tian family irked her, and Qiao Xian's distant attitude upon seeing Xiao Yunduan puzzled her. What did she imply? None of them are trustworthy. News of the sudden blossoming of a crabapple tree in the fourth prince's residence spread rapidly, accompanied by vivid descriptions. Many reacted with disbelief, deeming the situation absurd. Despite initial skepticism, the solemn vows and first-hand accounts from family members compelled people to reluctantly accept this improbable truth. Various interpretations emerged, with some seeing it as an auspicious sign and others deeming it ominous. The fourth prince's faction remained silent. The fourth prince was irate, viewing the incident as unfavorable. An auspicious sign in his residence? He is just a prince, the omen should be occurring in the palace or the crown prince's residence, not in his. What would his father and the crown prince think of him? If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know to report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1633. She doesn't understand how was he going to explain this. Could it be that he had to claim it was an evil creature? That would be inauspicious. The fourth prince could not help but scold the fourth princess consort. The fourth princess consort felt wronged. How was she supposed to know that this would happen? If she had known, she would not have attended the banquet that day. Sure enough, the emperor had heard the news too. He even sent a young eunuch to the fourth prince's mansion to investigate. The fourth prince was scared out of his wits. He insisted that he didn't know what was going on either. It must be that this crabapple tree was good-looking, energetic, and overnourished. It bloomed just like that. This wasn't a sudden bloom. There were flower buds on the tree to begin with, but they weren't conspicuous. No one paid attention, so they naturally neglected it. Then, because of the warm weather, they all bloomed at once. There were all kinds of strange things in the world. The fourth prince even suggested that it was indeed rare to see a crabapple tree bloom so well at this time. Why not have someone carefully dig it out and send it to the palace so that father could admire it? The young eunuch did not dare to make this decision and went back to report in detail. The emperor didn't want the tree. He said that it wasn't easy for the crabapple tree to grow so big. He would keep it for himself. Seeing that his father had no intention of blaming him for this, the fourth prince heaved a sigh of relief. While the fourth prince heaved a sigh of relief, the crown prince felt very uncomfortable. An auspicious sign. What kind of auspicious sign did his fourth brother want? Was he not even going to hide it? Although many people said that this matter was too strange and most likely not a good thing, the crown prince was more inclined to believe it. However, there were still individuals who insisted that this was an auspicious sign. This matter lodged like a thorn in his heart, causing him profound unease and discomfort. Prompted by a reminder, the crown prince suddenly recollected that Qiao was the one who had rescued the peony flowers in the court. Perhaps she possessed more knowledge about such matters than anyone else. Consequently, he urged Princess Consort to dispatch someone to consult Qiao. Princess Consort, though displeased, did not dare to rebuff the crown prince's request, so she sent Auntie Liang on the errand. Auntie Fu expressed her desire to go, but Princess Consort declined. She couldn't fathom why Auntie Fu persistently tried to convince her that she had misunderstood Miss Qiao. She refused to heed her advice and harbored no inclination to entertain any positive remarks about Miss Qiao. Auntie Liang adopted a much more agreeable attitude this time. Bearing the crown prince's mission in mind, she recognized Qiao's reputed temperament and refrained from putting on airs. After all, even if Qiao became the target of the crown prince and princess consort's disdain, it wouldn't bode well for Auntie Liang. Qiao hadn't anticipated a visit from the East Palace for such a matter. Wasn't this an exaggeration? Although Qiao expressed her surprise, she couldn't explain why, so she offered her apologies. Auntie Liang displayed no surprise. Qiao knew about peony flowers, but expecting her to be an expert on all flowers would be unreasonable. Smiling, Auntie Liang advised, "In that case, I'll convey this message to you. Moreover, it's best to keep this knowledge to yourself. Disclosing it may lead to unwarranted speculation and complications. What are your thoughts, Madame Xiao?" She wanted her to remain discreet. Qiao nodded. Certainly. Auntie Liang departed satisfied. When the fourth princess consort extended an invitation to Qiao Xian for the banquet, and when princess consort organized the event, she didn't want to exclude Qiao Xian, so she invited her as well. Qiao Xian found herself spending another day in the crown prince's mansion. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know to report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1634, Cloudwater Town. It wasn't until the 11th that Qiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan finally took a break and headed straight to Cloudwater Town with Li Xia and their companions. On the farmland in Cloudwater Town, land lay bare and untended. The earliest they could start cleaning and preparing the land would be February. Actual farming would commence when the weather warmed up, with the subsequent 2 rounds of spring rain nurturing the soil. Despite the barren fields, the manor was brimming with activity. Qiao Xian had become a favorite among the children, who adored her warmth and the abundance of sweets, snacks, and fruits she shared. Qiao Xian enjoyed preparing various foods. With a sizable crowd around, cooking might be inconvenient, but barbecue, dumplings, buns, and steamed rice cakes proved to be practical choices. Laughter echoed through the entire courtyard every day. Occasionally, when the weather permitted, Qiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan would venture out to climb mountains. Under the vast sky and expansive landscape, clarity and openness prevailed. Yi, Sun Bai, and Sun Qian excelled at hunting, and Qiao Xian's interest in hunting rekindled. She joined them in the forest for a hunting expedition. Winter prey tended to be adept at hiding and less active, making it a challenging time for hunting with limited harvest expectations. Yet, Xiao Yunduan had no expectations as long as his wife was happy. Sun Bai, Sun Qian, and the others were eager for the outdoor activity. Additionally, Liu Fu, Guan, and several others formed a sizable team. With Qiao Xian leading the way, even winter hunting promised a fruitful outcome. After successfully hunting more than 10 pheasants and rabbits, Sun Bai and the others were elated. They discovered a surprisingly abundant array of prey in the forest near Cloudwater Town. It turned out to be an excellent hunting ground. Their luck today was exceptionally good. They successfully hunted 2 wild goats, one weighing approximately 60 to 70 catties and the other around 50 catties. Gleefully, they carried their prized catches back. Upon returning to the farm, a crowd gathered to witness the commotion. Qiao Xian reserved a leg of lamb, some lamb chops, mutton, and haggis for themselves, while the rest was handed over to the women in the large kitchen for cooking the next day. Joy radiated through the farm. Jing Sang and the others joined Qiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan for dinner. Fresh lamb bones were stewed along with the mutton, and a hearty bowl was served with cabbage, vermicelli, scallions, and coriander. The enticing aroma wafted throughout the yard. The table was adorned with steamed mutton, stewed pheasant with wild mushrooms, spicy rabbit meat, stir-fried pea seedlings, stir-fried eggs with winter melon slices, pickled radish shreds, and pine eggs, a festive spread befitting the spring festival. Qiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan departed on the 18th day of the first month. In the preceding days, news had spread across the farm that their old master and madam were leaving the capital. The tenants continued with their farming duties following the established routines, and their own farmers performed their assigned tasks. Adhering to Song's recommendation, Qiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan appointed Zhang Jia as the leader of this area. Zhao Shu would send periodic checks on Zhang Jia, and Qiao Xian provided a means for him to communicate with Zhao Shu. Jing Sang and the others continued to reside on the farm, receiving wages according to the terms of their contract. During their time on the farm, Jing Sang and the others enjoyed a tranquil and secure life. They harbored no worries about securing hard work or food for the next day. Grateful and trusting, they held Qiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan in high regard. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know to report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1635, planning to accompany. Upon learning that Xiao Yunduan was slated for a transfer, reluctance hung in the air among the community. Curious children persistently inquired about Qiao Xian's return to the capital, unable to bear parting with Xiao Yunduan. To them, the notion of An's province held no significance, and they assumed Lord Xiao's relocation was merely a result of a promotion to another place. In contrast, Jing Sang, Lu Changming, Wu Guan, and the others were familiar with Nzizhou. However, they chose not to disclose the details to the broader group, deeming it unwise to stir emotions. Even if others were aware, it wouldn't alter the situation. Ignorance, in this case, seemed preferable. Yet, they couldn't remain idle. After deliberation, Jing Sang proposed that Lord Xiao and Madame Xiao required assistance while out of town. Consequently, he decided to bring some capable individuals, along with good seedlings, to An's province with Xiao Yunduan and Qiao Xian. Despite Xiao Yunduan's gratitude, Jing Sang and the others insisted on accompanying him. Recognizing their capabilities and self-defense skills, Xiao Yunduan accepted their offer with thanks. Jing Sang chuckled heartily. "Lord, you're too polite. This is what we should do." Since their arrival at the farm, Jing Sang had consistently addressed Qiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan as Madam and Lord. The couple had provided shelter and stability to over 70 individuals, offering them a prolonged period of contentment. In their time of need, turning a blind eye and reveling in peace would be inhumane. Moreover, after years of confinement, the group was eager to explore the world beyond. Following thorough discussions, Jing Sang and the others decided that Jing Sang, Wu Guan, and Yang Mu, a returning army veteran, would be accompanied by 10-year-old Lu Qian, Emoli, Liu Fu, Madame Song, Shower, Qing Lian, Ms. Miao, and Qiao Qiao, a total of 11 people. If Xiao Er expressed the desire to go, Miss Song wouldn't hinder her son. Naturally, she would follow suit. Ms. Miao took the initiative to join, being close to Ms. Song. With a companion in tow, it would be convenient for household tasks and organizing for the journey. Qiao Qiao, unable to bear parting with Qing Lian, was overjoyed. Thus, the decision was finalized. Lu Changming, Song Guangyao, and others stayed at the manor to attend to the remaining people and manage the estate. With the decision made, preparations were underway. Given the considerable distance, procuring a carriage became imperative. A pre-made one wouldn't suffice, modifications were needed to enhance sturdiness and comfort. 11 people would require at least 3 carriages, 2 for seating and 1 for luggage. Qiao Xian initially thought 4 carriages would be more comfortable, but Jing Sang and the others argued that 2 would suffice. With the need for alternating drivers, having too many carriages would prove inconvenient. The packing was minimal, just a few clothes and essentials. After a discussion with Xiao Yunduan, Jing Sang decided to take a few men with him to Yan City to gather information, ensuring Xiao Yunduan and the others wouldn't be entirely clueless. This plan was agreed upon. As a result, Jing Sang departed with Yang Mu and Lu Qian, while the others followed Xiao Yunduan and Qiao Xian. On the 3rd day of February, Xiao Yunduan and Qiao Xian discreetly left the capital. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know to report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1636, Leaving the capital early in the morning, a discreet carriage gradually departed from the capital, blending into the vast and bustling crowd. Once outside the city, Qiao Xian couldn't resist lifting a corner of the curtain to peer outside. Turning to Xiao Yunduan with a smile, she remarked, "This will be a positive change for us. Let us soar in the heavens and swim in the vast sea." Regardless of the crown prince's fortune, they had no desire to revel in his glory. If the crown prince faced misfortune, they aimed to avoid entanglement. Xiao Yunduan chuckled, embracing Qiao Xian. "Your sentiments echo exactly what your husband is thinking. You and I share an unspoken understanding." The two exchanged smiles. Guan awaited them 20 miles away. Upon their rendezvous, the group set off together. 7 carriages moved in unison, presenting a majestic sight. However, for travelers embarking on a long journey, their luggage was surprisingly minimal. The Crown Prince contemplated whether he should meet Xiao Yunduan before his departure. Despite everything, Xiao Yunduan was still aligned with him. Xiao Yunduan's stubbornness kept him from betraying the Crown Prince. In the Crown Prince's heart, he still held admiration for Xiao Yunduan and wished for him to reconsider. Yet, summoning him for a meeting might imply a concession, making the Crown Prince feel somewhat embarrassed, typical of his indecisive nature. However, Xiao Yunduan had already set out before the Crown Prince could make a decision. After Xiao Yunduan's departure, the Crown Prince felt a twinge of annoyance. Princess Consort sensed his thoughts and attempted to persuade him. "You've done everything you could for Lord Xiao. Without your recognition and support, he wouldn't have achieved such prominence with his background and lack of connections. He wouldn't have offended the Tian family upon arriving in the capital because of Ms. Qiao. These are all your doings. He could have had a better future, but because of Ms. Qiao, he chose this path and let down your kindness and expectations. In my opinion, he's a fool. It's good that he's gone. Crown Prince, you don't have to blame yourself. You didn't do anything wrong." Hearing Princess Consort's words, the Crown Prince couldn't help but laugh. He burst into laughter and said, "I was feeling uneasy, but after hearing what you said, I feel much better. You are indeed my good wife." Princess Consort smiled shyly. "It is my duty. It is my good fortune to have such a good wife like Princess Consort. As for Officer Xiao, well, let's not dwell on it. Is Mr. Xie still at your home?" Princess Consort was uncertain of Xie Jingrong's whereabouts in her own home, but as he was on good terms with her nephew, she nodded with a smile. "Yes, he has always been around. I will ask someone to inform him to meet you." This year marked Qi Xian's 47th year. In July, there would be another fall quarter examination, and in the following spring, another spring quarter examination after 3 years. A new primus would be crowned. The Crown Prince harbored the hope that Xie Jingrong would be the new primus. By then, Xiao Yunduan would fade into obscurity. People would remember the Crown Prince's failure in retaining his trusted officer. The Crown Prince shared this sentiment. He nodded and smiled. "If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know and report so we can fix it as soon as possible." Chapter 1637, Eldest Young Master Xie left unexpectedly. 3 days passed, and Princess Consort had not received a reply. Growing increasingly anxious, Princess Consort personally sent Auntie Fu to inquire. Feeling the urgency of the matter, she couldn't afford any further delay. What would the Crown Prince think of her if she couldn't handle such a simple task? To her dismay, Auntie Fu returned with troubling news for Princess Consort. Mr. Xie had left the capital, intending to visit friends in Gubei and wouldn't be back for a month or 2. It was also possible that he might not return to the capital anytime soon, depending on his mood. Princess Consort was dumbfounded. In fact, her maternal family, the Fu family, was equally stunned. They dared not take the initiative to inform her that young Master Xie had left a message and departed. The news had left them searching for words. Xie Jingrong had stayed in the capital to cover up for Qiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan, discussing the situation in An's province with Xiao Yunduan. He had maintained a facade of politeness. However, when Xiao Yunduan and Qiao Xian departed, he didn't even show up to bid them farewell. Unhappy and unable to tolerate the situation any longer, he decided to leave the capital. The more the Crown Prince expressed goodwill, the more repulsed Xie Jingrong felt. He knew the sacrifices Xiao Yunduan had made for the Crown Prince, both openly and covertly, yet the Crown Prince forced him to endure such absurd treatment. Xie Jingrong failed to see how the Crown Prince could be deemed kind. If Xiao Yunduan could be treated like this today, who's to say the same wouldn't happen to him in the future? As fury consumed Princess Consort, she instructed Auntie Fu to go again and summoned her second brother to her side. She desired to ask him personally. In reality, there wasn't much harm in personally seeking answers from Xie Jingrong, especially considering he had already left. The eldest young master Xie didn't have any obligations to the Fu family, nor had he explicitly promised them anything. He hadn't even made a special visit to the crown prince. So, what power did the Fu family really hold? With no other option, Princess Consort instructed her second brother to dispatch more men to Gubei and retrieve Xie Jingrong as swiftly as possible. Regardless, he had to meet the crown prince first. Princess Consort regretted her delayed action. Initially, she felt reassured, thinking Xie Jingrong intended to join the crown prince, so there was no rush. She anticipated him visiting her. Little did she know, had she known earlier, she would have invited him over much sooner. As Princess Consort procrastinated, the crown prince's impatience grew. After 6 or 7 days, he was on the verge of becoming truly angry. What were the Fu family's intentions? Yet, receiving no updates from the individuals sent to Gubei, Princess Consort had no choice but to reveal the truth to the crown prince. His fury erupted upon hearing the news. What was wrong with the Fu family? They couldn't even retain a person. Weren't they claiming that Xie Jingrong got along well with the young masters of the Xie family? Did someone offend them? Why would Xie Jingrong leave so abruptly? Despite his frustration, the crown prince clung to hope. If the Fu family had offended someone, as long as Xie Jingrong was truly committed to pursuing an official position, he would surely return. Patience was all that was needed. Crown Prince scolded Princess Consort, instructing her not to offend Xie Jingrong when he returned. Additionally, he emphasized the importance of reporting any issues promptly rather than concealing them. Princess Consort inwardly sighed in relief, promptly agreeing to the Crown Prince's instructions. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know to report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1638. On the road, Qiao Xian, Xiao Yunduan, and the others departed from the capital without hesitation. 3 days later, they had already distanced themselves significantly, covering over 700 miles of travel. Fatigue set in, prompting them to slow down. They adopted a more leisurely pace, not setting off early each day and checking into a hotel around 4 in the afternoon. An's province lay in the southeast of the Great Qin Empire. To travel south from the capital, one had to take a dry road, covering approximately 2,600 kilometers. Under normal circumstances, the journey would require around 20 days. Heading south proved more challenging, especially as they entered territories marked by crisscrossing mountains and ridges. Traveling 100 miles a day was the carriage's limit, and sometimes it was even less. Qiao Xian, Xiao Yunduan, and their companions anticipated spending at least a month on this leg of their journey. Fortunately, they had ample time before assuming office. They only needed to arrive within 2 months, allowing them to progress slowly. The extended trip proved enjoyable. Passing through vibrant towns with distinct local characteristics, they would settle down early. This allowed them time to explore local markets, savor regional delicacies, and purchase items for the road. However, transporting local specialties proved challenging due to the journey's length. In the blink of an eye, they transitioned from the expansive northern plains to mountainous terrain. Endless mountains unfolded before them, verdant and lush. Springs and waterfalls occasionally punctuated the scenery. Cliffs towered high, creating natural barriers. As they traversed remote mountain paths, encounters with wild sheep, boars, and various other beasts became commonplace. The flapping wings of frightened pheasants and birds added to the natural spectacle. On one occasion, they even spotted a large white-fronted tiger crouched on a distant cliff, stirring excitement among the group. Considering their combined strength, confronting a large tiger posed no problem for them. Had it not been for the distance and time constraints, Sun Bai, Sun Qian, Ai, and others would have eagerly tested their mettle against the formidable feline. As they journeyed further south, the temperature gradually rose. The landscape transformed with the flourishing of grass, the flight of orioles, and the blooming of various wildflowers. The mountains and wilderness turned into a captivating scene, adorned with colorful blossoms that complemented the young leaves and fresh grass. The air carried a melange of fragrances, flowers, grass, leaves, soil, and the warmth of the spring sun, refreshing the senses, inducing joy, and expanding their horizons. Their group, venturing into An's province, was likely unprecedented. Xiao Yunduan had severed ties with the crown prince, making him appear unlikely to rise again in the eyes of others. For the next few years, he was perceived as a non-threatening figure. In these circumstances, Xiao Yunduan enjoyed a sense of security. No intelligent prince would attempt to scheme against him at this juncture. Being the emperor's primus, Xiao Yunduan remained a figure of significance, and the emperor might remember him at any moment. Therefore, it made more sense for potential rivals to focus on gaining favor within the imperial court rather than plotting against him. With this understanding, Xiao Yunduan and his men approached the journey with a relaxed mindset. Nevertheless, Sun Bai and Sun Qian remained vigilant. Daily, they assigned professional scouts to monitor any signs of abnormal activity. They strategically rested during the day, arranging their schedules with caution. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know to report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1639, added within a few days, Wu Guan and the others were completely swayed by Sun Bai and Sun Qianxin, readily following their orders. During their journey, as they passed through bustling towns, the group visited brokers to scout for potential talents. Qiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan had limited personnel at their disposal, and Song's experience, along with Qing Yan's versatility, were insufficient. By the halfway point of their trip, they had essentially acquired everything they needed. For new girls named Kai Hua, Kai Yue, Kai Ming, and Kai Yun, aged between 12 and 14, joined the group. Li Chuan and Li Xia took charge of looking after them. Upon reaching their destination, Li Qiao and Li Xia would serve as Qiao Xian's attendants, managing internal and external affairs, while the four girls handled miscellaneous tasks. Mian Mian, having worked as a street vendor from a young age, proved to be intelligent and adept at quick-witted tasks. Qiao Xian, impressed with her capabilities, decided to mentor her. Mian Mian made significant progress in accounting, and Qiao Xian planned to gradually entrust her with account books and some properties. Mian Mian's enthusiasm for the job was evident, her eyes lighting up when handling calculations. In this respect, Li Xia and Li Qiao couldn't compare. They found accounting challenging, and although Qiao Xian had tried teaching them before, she eventually gave up. Two more families, Xia Sanzhao and his wife with a pair of children, and Kaiyu's parents, were added to the group. Qiao Xian named the four page boys Jia, Yi, Bing, and Ding, around 13 or 14 years old, and assigned them to Songshi. Sun Bai and Sun Qian aimed to select promising individuals for martial arts training, but they only identified 3, all under the age of 12. As a result, the entire team nearly doubled in size, requiring 3 additional carriages. Fortunately, the remaining journey was not extensive, and in a few days, they would reach their destination. On a particular day, Qiao Xian's secret could no longer be concealed. She was pregnant, nearly 3 months along. She had kept this information from Xiao Yunduan, fearing that if he knew, he would hesitate to leave the capital. Despite initial worries, Qiao Xian found solace in the belief that her superpower would safeguard her child. When Xiao Yunduan heard the news, he was stunned. His immediate concern was for Qiao Xian's well-being, anxiously holding her hands and attentively inquiring about her health, fatigue, and cravings. Amused, Qiao Xian laughed, instructing him to treat her as he always had. Xiao Yunduan, however, couldn't fathom it being the same and grew increasingly worried. He suggested having Yi and Sun Bai stay with her or proposed returning to their house. He believed her life would be better and happier in Shouting Village. Her mother and sister-in-law would be overjoyed at the news, and the extended family could assist in taking care of her. Most importantly, it would be much safer at home. Yet, Qiao Xian firmly refused. She pressed herself into his arms, declaring that she would only go where he went. Looking up at him with a gentle smile, she teased, "If I don't guard you, countless fairies will pounce on you. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know to report so we can fix it as soon as possible." Chapter 1640, Pregnant. Caught between laughter and tears, Xiao Yunduan insisted, "I promise, absolutely not." But Qiao Xian refused to listen, covering her ears defiantly. "I'm not listening." Xiao Yunduan attempted to speak, but Qiao Xian persisted, playfully blocking out his words. After a brief standoff, Xiao Yunduan decided to revisit the topic. "Why didn't you tell me that you're pregnant? If I hadn't sensed something was amiss, how long were you planning to keep it from me?" Feeling a pang of guilt, Qiao Xian rolled her eyes and snuggled against his chest. "I found out myself not long ago, because I was on the road. Xiao Yunduan found the explanation odd but initially didn't dwell on it. However, upon reflection, he berated himself for being foolish. Although her appearance hadn't changed, her actions and eating habits had become more cautious. He recalled her constant claims of tiredness and reluctance to be touched since leaving the capital. At the time, he attributed it to concerns about An's province. Now, he realized it was more than that. He chided himself for not paying closer attention and waiting until today to notice. Unconvinced by Qiao Xian's explanation, Xiao Yunduan couldn't bring himself to believe it. Feeling a hint of panic, Qiao Xian changed her story. "I found out a few days ago, but I was afraid you would keep me here, so I kept it a secret. I've been trying to find the right time to tell you, but I haven't found the opportunity. Anyway, you know now. Look, I'm fine." Xiao Yunduan struggled to control his anger. "You're right." Luckily nothing happened, otherwise, he couldn't even bear to think about the potential consequences. The mere thought made his heart tremble, and cold sweat broke out on his back. This was their first child. Qiao Xian, sensing his distress, subconsciously tightened her arms around herself. She gently caressed his long fingers and spoke softly, "This is our first child, and I know what I'm doing. I will protect him well. Look, he's fine, right? Please don't blame me." Xiao Yunduan sighed helplessly. "I'm not blaming you. Do you really not want to go home?" "No." Unable to force her, Xiao Yunduan conceded. Okay, the plan had to change. The safety of Qiao Xian and the child became the top priority. Qiao Xian, relieved that Xiao Yunduan didn't force her to leave, began to comfort him. "Husband, consider this, I'm pregnant, and you need to take care of me. People will be negligent, not keeping a close eye on us, and not taking us seriously. We can set up the trap slowly, catching them off guard. Isn't that good?" She gently stroked her yet to swell abdomen, a smile playing on her lips. This child came at the right time. What a good child. As soon as she came, she numbed the enemy for her parents. Caught between laughter and tears, Xiao Yunduan threw her a look. "My wife is right, what a good child." Qiao Xian smiled proudly, and Xiao Yunduan, filled with tenderness and happiness, moved closer to her. Rubbing his face against hers, he smiled brightly. "Wife, we are going to have a baby. We are already on the way to having a child." Yes, I was wrong. We are already on the way to having our child." He laughed happily. "We are finally on the way to having a child." If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know to report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1641. Be careful. Qiao Xian's heart melted as well. She looked up at him with a smile and couldn't help but kiss him. Husband, have you been waiting for this child for a long time? Qiao Xian leaned against Xiao Yunduan and asked slowly. Of course not. Xiao Yunduan burst into laughter and took her in his arms. We will have a child sooner or later. Qiao Xian almost asked what if she was not able to give birth, but then she realized that what she said was inauspicious. The baby in her stomach was so aggrieved. So she changed her words and said with a smile, yes, I think so too. After some thought, she added, I want to have a girl and a boy. Xiao Yunduan smiled, looking even more gentle. I want to, too. Let's work hard. Qiao Xian burst into laughter and blushed. Still concerned, Xiao Yunduan asked someone to get a doctor to check on her. The news of Qiao Xian's pregnancy was also announced. Everyone was happy for them and congratulated them endlessly. Xiao Yunduan looked very happy and full of smiles. He asked Li Xia and Li Qiao to cook the eggs and distribute them to everyone. He also gave out numerous red packets, making everyone very happy. After the doctor carefully examined her, he also congratulated her with a smile, indicating that the child in Madame Xiao's stomach was very healthy. Both mother and child were in excellent condition. Xiao Yunduan, still in disbelief, asked for more details and then requested Songshi to bring another doctor. He only felt at ease when the two doctors confirmed the same result. Caught between laughter and tears, Qiao Xian said to him with a smile after the second doctor left, Are you relieved now? Xiao Yunduan looked at her with a smile. How could he be assured? They still had to travel. Although the doctor said that as long as she walked slowly, took care of herself on the way, paid attention to rest, and checked regularly, she should be fine. In this situation, she didn't even need to take pregnancy-stabilizing medicine. However, this was his wife and son after all. No matter how well the doctor spoke, he couldn't remain calm when he thought of the journey. As for what his unreliable wife said about, just like before, that was even more impossible. Other officials' wives were pregnant. Who didn't serve them well? Who was like his wife? She was actually still traveling. Just thinking about it made his heart ache. It was really too unfair to her. Thinking of this, Xiao Yunduan took care of her carefully. From this day onwards, the group's speed clearly slowed down. They had initially covered a day's journey, but now, it took 2 days. For those with better road conditions, the originally 2-day journey now took 3 days. No one had any objections. They felt that this was how it should be. Pregnant women were delicate to begin with. If anything happened, wouldn't she regret it? Qiao Xian thought that even if she went according to the speed, she would only be 7 or 8 days slower than before, so she could enjoy the special treatment. There were also advantages to walking slowly. The scenery was along the way. This was the best season of the year. Every day, there would be different beautiful scenery to admire. In the middle of March, they finally arrived in An's province. When they were still 2 days away from An's province, everyone stopped to rest and planned to enter the city in batches. Xiao Yunduan and Qiao Xian brought Songshi, Li Xia, Ai, Sun Bai, Sun Qian, Miss Song, Xiao Er, and Liu Fu. Half of the servants were bought, and Wu Guan and the rest were counted as another group. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know to report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1642. Entering the city. After Wu Guan and the others entered the city, they found an inn to stay in before contacting each other. On March 11th, Xiao Yunduan arrived at N City in the afternoon with his wife and his men. From afar, they could see the gray city wall that was neither tall nor short. The surroundings were filled with undulating mountains and forests. In late spring, the trees and grass were lush, making it look even deeper. Amidst the surrounding mountains, such a gray city looked even more lonely, desolate, and bleak. It was unknown if it was because of their preconceived notions, but when everyone looked at the city wall, the yellow soil, and the bumpy official road, they subconsciously felt desolate and sinister. Even though the sun was shining brightly, it still made people subconsciously nervous. After all, this was a bandit's nest. An's prefecture city was very large, but the population didn't seem to be high. There were only a few pedestrians and horses on the official road that entered and exited the city gate, making it look very deserted. In such a cold environment, Qiao Xian, Xiao Yunduan, and the other 6 carriages were very conspicuous. Anyone who passed by them could not help but size them up curiously. When the convoy finally arrived at the city gate, a few soldiers guarding the city also looked over. Just as their carriage was about to enter the city, a few soldiers moved. "Stop!" They came forward with rusty spears and surrounded the most luxurious wagon that Qiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan were in. "Everyone in the carriage, get down." Xiao Yunduan had no intention of concealing his identity and visiting incognito. Catching the culprits red-handed required boldness and a show of authority, which would be compromised if he hid his identity. Li Xiao lifted the curtain, and Xiao Yunduan, with an air of authority, opened a fraction of a tail and rushed towards the soldiers. "I am the new prefect. 2 men, lead the way to the government office." The soldiers widened their eyes, dumbfounded. Sun Bai, who was driving the carriage, flicked his wrist, and his black whip drew a sharp arc in the air. He shouted in a low voice, "How dare you? Why aren't you bowing to the Lord Prefect?" Although these soldiers couldn't read, they were familiar with official seals and the decorum surrounding them. No one would be so audacious as to make such a jest in broad daylight. While they knew the new prefect would assume office soon, no one expected him to enter the city so discreetly. Reprimanded by Sun Bai, the soldiers' hearts trembled, and they hastily knelt down. "Greetings, Lord. Greetings, Lord." It seemed that with just 6 people, the illusion of a bustling scene was successfully created. Xiao Yunduan commanded, "Get up." Casually pointing at the 2 soldiers in front, he continued, "You 2, lead the way. The rest, return to your posts." Yes." The bewildered soldiers led the way while the others stood guard, looking at each other in confusion. Why did this prefect seem so different from the others? And why had he let them off so easily? "Hey, what are we waiting for? Hurry up and report it." "Oh, yes. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know to report so we can fix it as soon as possible." Chapter 1643, Reception Soon. The 4 of them hastily made their escape, dispersing without a clear plan on where to report. Word of the prefect's imminent arrival quickly circulated. Upon reaching the state office, Xiao Yunduan, Qiao Xian, and the others found Deputy Prefect Guan Feng waiting outside, accompanied by fellow officials. A modest gathering of around 20 people stood nonchalantly, engaging in casual conversations with an air of indifference. Songshi and Qingyan assisted Xiao Yunduan out of the carriage, and attendants flocked around him. Deputy Prefect Guan was momentarily taken aback but quickly led the group forward, extending a courteous greeting with a smile. "Are you Lord Xiao of Xiao Prefect?" Xiao Yunduan nodded, "Yes, I am." "Greetings, Lord." "Greetings, Lord." Deputy Prefect Guan promptly bowed with a smile, and eagerly awaited Lord Xiao day and night. "You've finally arrived. My lord, you're too discreet. It would have been better to send notice ahead, allowing me to greet you outside the city upon receiving the news. It wasn't intentional. Hee. We were pressed for time. Please forgive us, Lord." Understanding, Xiao Yunduan, looking fatigued, nodded. I appreciate your understanding. You may go for now, we can discuss matters later. Deputy Prefect Guan, is it? Lead me to the back office. Yes, yes, yes. My lord, please come in. You must be exhausted from the journey. Head to the back office and rest. Deputy Prefect Guan eagerly nodded, dismissing everyone. He then guided Xiao Yunduan and the others to the rear entrance of the government office. In his 40s or 50s, Deputy Prefect Guan possessed a sturdy, middle-class physique with slightly dark skin. His thick, black eyebrows overshadowed his pupils, creating a distinctive appearance. Despite his friendly demeanor and constant smiles, he seemed good-tempered, showering Xiao Yunduan with flattery and praise as they walked. Qiao Xian was deeply moved by the conversation, finding it remarkably familiar, as if they were long-lost friends finally reunited. As they strolled through the back office, they entered the courtyard, where a few servants from the back office warmly greeted them. Deputy Prefect Guan rushed to summon them for assistance with the horses and luggage, but Songshur intervened. With a friendly smile, Songshur spoke, "Our lord and madam have minimal luggage, we can handle it ourselves. There's no need to trouble everyone." The servants turned their gaze toward Deputy Prefect Guan. Observing Xiao Yunduan's silence, Deputy Prefect Guan burst into laughter and exclaimed, "In that case, thank you all for your efforts." Before the new year, the former prefect had fled with his entourage, leaving Deputy Prefect Guan to welcome Xiao Yunduan and his party this time. While not small, the prefect's back office was divided into the east and west yards, with Xiao Yunduan and his companions settling in the east yard. Besides the two courtyards, there was also a spacious garden spanning about 3 to 4 mu. The garden featured pavilions, flowers, wood structures, flowing water, and a rockery. Due to the humid climate and abundant forests, the vegetation in the garden thrived, boasting flourishing flowers and trees. The east courtyard comprised 3 smaller courtyards, totaling more than 30 houses, along with facilities such as a kitchen, storeroom, and stable. Although the east courtyard had been tidied up, the furniture was incomplete, and curtains were lacking. The servants' kitchen was well organized, but the master's kitchen stood empty. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know to report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1644. Pridely Xia and Li Qiao assisted Qiao Xian as they helped him out of the wagon. This was the scene that greeted them upon entering the yard and the main house. Deputy Prefect Guan wore an apologetic expression. "I'm truly sorry, Lord Xiao." The former prefect took all the furniture with him or sold it when he departed. He had personally purchased those items. "Shall I arrange for someone to buy replacements from the shop?" "No need. It's a minor matter, I'll handle it myself." "Ah, that's good. Lord, I'm sure you have excellent taste. Choosing things personally will ensure they suit your preferences. I'll have someone take your guys to the market later." Xiao Yunduan responded noncommittally, "Deputy Prefect Guan, I appreciate your efforts today. Once everything is settled, I'll host a banquet to express my gratitude to all of you. In the days ahead, I'll rely on Deputy Prefect Guan for various matters. I hope you won't find me too bothersome." "No, Lord, you jest." Deputy Prefect Guan beamed, waving his hands. "I've always been at your service. I'll follow your orders. If there's anything you need me to do, just say the word. I'll gladly share your burdens by providing all the information I possess. I wouldn't dare trouble you with unnecessary expenses. Once we're settled, I'll host a banquet for you, ha ha ha." With a smile, Xiao Yunduan exchanged a few more pleasantries before Deputy Prefect Guan took his leave. However, just as Deputy Prefect Guan was about to depart, Qiao Xian suddenly addressed him with a hint of pride, "Deputy Prefect Guan, isn't it? When is Mrs. Guan planning to pay her respects?" If it's too late, tell her not to come today, she can return tomorrow. I'm tired and would like to rest early. Deputy Prefect Guan was taken aback, quickly putting on a smile and offering profuse apologies. Yes. She is not feeling well today, so she didn't make an appearance. Please forgive me, Madam Qiao. Tomorrow, when she feels better, I'll definitely ask her to come over to pay the respects. Qiao Xian remained unyielding, scoffing, not feeling well. What a coincidence. She stopped just short of accusing her of feigning illness. Even though Deputy Prefect Guan possessed a smooth tongue and eloquence, Qiao Xian's words caught him off guard. In his view, maintaining mutual respect and harmony was essential. Everyone should be in good spirits. Encountering someone who didn't show any courtesy was genuinely, nevertheless, Deputy Prefect Guan, resembling a benevolent Buddha, recovered swiftly from his momentary surprise, and his face soon lit up with smiles once again. His smile exuded warmth. Madam Qiao, you do have a knack for humor. My wife has always been delicate. Just a few days ago, she was mentioning you and eagerly anticipating your arrival. Qiao Xian's expression softened slightly. She shot him a glance and said nothing more. After exchanging a few more pleasantries, Deputy Prefect Guan truly took his leave. Songsher dismissed the 2 men and 2 maidservants who had been serving in the courtyard. Closing the courtyard door, everyone set to work, carrying luggage and dividing tasks. Inside the main room, an arhat bed, an 8-seat table, chairs flanking each side of the table, a long table, and an immovable ancient shelf partition were the only furnishings. Taking charge, Xiao Yunduan directed Li Qiao, and the others to prepare the arhat bed. He assisted Qiao Xian in sitting down, saying, "Wife, take a rest. Li Qiao, head to the kitchen and boil some hot water. Retrieve the box of snacks and place it on the table so we can satisfy our hunger. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know. Report so we can fix it as soon as possible." Chapter 1645. Harmony on surface. Xiao Xian's hunger was unmistakably apparent, and she couldn't bear the pangs any longer. She smiled and asserted, "I'm not that delicate." Xiao Yunduan remarked, "You're not squeamish, you're pregnant." This prompted another laugh from Qiao Xian. Glancing at him, she inquired, "Husband, what's your impression of Deputy Prefect Guan?" Recalling Xie Jingrong's insights, Xiao Yunduan replied, "As Brother Xie mentioned, Deputy Prefect Guan is quite diplomatic. Though exceedingly amiable, such individuals often prove challenging to befriend. After all, some could effortlessly wear a smile in public but backstab without a second thought. Some executed the act with a cool detachment, without a hint of hesitation." Before arriving in An's province, both Xiao Yunduan and Qiao Xian had heard that Deputy Prefect Guan belonged to the latter category. Despite the changing prefects in An's, Deputy Prefect Guan had maintained his position for a decade. Surviving contentedly in such an environment required a shrewd and resilient character. Throwing a glance at Qiao Xian, Xiao Yunduan sighed, "Why did you provoke him just now?" Qiao Xian smiled, proudly straightening her back. "I'm the prefect's wife, a local tyrant. Why can't I be a bit assertive? Being overly kind isn't necessary here. Initiating a confrontation, putting someone in their place, or establishing dominance provides an advantageous position. Let them understand that I'm not someone to be trifled with. It will help them exercise restraint. Didn't we agree on this?" Xiao Yunduan sighed with a helpless smile. While they had discussed such strategies before, he hadn't anticipated Qiao Xian's pregnancy. Now aware of her condition, he preferred avoiding unnecessary risks. His current priority was to lead a stable and conservative life until after she gave birth. However, he hadn't found the time to discuss this with her during the journey. Initially, she had intended to settle in quietly. Little did he expect her to deliberately stir trouble and embarrass others the moment they arrived. Facing her question now, Xiao Yunduan refrained from blaming her for her impulsiveness and instead commended her, saying, "My wife has an excellent memory. I haven't thought of it yet." Qiao Xian felt a surge of pride. Xiao Yunduan spoke gently, "Regardless, you are carrying a life inside you now. Always prioritize your well-being and that of our child and mother. We can address everything else later, but your safety is paramount." Qiao Xian's heart warmed, and she gazed down at her belly with a smile. "Don't worry, I'll protect him." Her concern for her child surpassed everything else. Without the protection of her superpower, she might not have acted so impulsively. Although the superpower's energy had halved, Qiao Xian felt reassured, sensing that the other half was safeguarding the baby in her womb. Li Xia poured hot water and arranged snacks on the table. Xiao Yunduan tasted the tea, offering it to Qiao Xian. Thirsty and hungry, Qiao Xian ceased talking, focusing on drinking water and eating. After a while, Songshi entered and provided a detailed report. The courtyard was now empty, and numerous items needed purchasing. He presented a lengthy list for the two masters to review. Qiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan were indifferent to whether the former prefect had sold off the furniture or if Deputy Prefect Guan intended to make things difficult for them. Money was not a concern for them. "If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know to report so we can fix it as soon as possible." Chapter 1646, Mrs. Guan's Dissatisfaction. They paid little attention to the possessions of others. Despite An's province not being the most prosperous or bustling, it was, after all, a sizable city with several furniture stores. They could easily procure what they needed. Reviewing the extensive list, Qiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan handed it to Songshi. "It's getting late, arrange for someone to purchase these items individually. Preferably, acquire ready-made pieces. If not, place orders and ensure they're ready in the coming days." Songshi agreed and set off to make the necessary arrangements. Fortunately, the bustling time allowed everyone to split up for shopping. The small kitchen soon had a complete set of pots, pans, cooking utensils, various foods, firewood, and seasonings such as oil, salt, soy sauce, and vinegar. Daily necessities like furniture, beds, wardrobes, tables, and chairs were also acquired. Customizing curtains, chairs, and other items would take a few days but could be expedited with payment. Xiao Yunduan contemplated going out to explore the area, mingle with the locals, and learn more about An's prefecture city. While Qiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan stayed in the room, Li Xia and Li Qiao knew precisely what to buy, leaving Songshi in charge of the rest. They instructed Qing Yan to reserve a few tables of dishes from a nearby restaurant, to be delivered later when dinner time approached. With the day drawing to a close, preparing a home-cooked meal would be impractical. As Deputy Prefect Guan left the east courtyard, he maintained a smiling facade. However, upon entering the west courtyard where his family resided, the smile faded. Inside the house, Mrs. Guan, munching on melon seeds, eagerly clapped her hands, demanding, "How was it? How was the Xiao family?" Deputy Prefect Guan chuckled, envisioning Xiao Yunduan's fatigued expression and the scrutinizing, disappointed glances. "Not much to report. I doubt they'll last long here either. None of those officials seem like they can endure this place for an extended period." "That's right," Mrs. Guan sneered. "I heard he's a young primus, a scholar whose head is filled with lofty ideals. He's pedantic and daydreams about romance all the time. How can someone like him endure the hardships? People of his kind won't last long in our place." Growing more agitated, she continued, "In my opinion, you've endured this forsaken place for so many years. Even if you haven't received proper recognition, you've worked hard. Moreover, you've made contributions. Without you, would this place have remained stable for so long? The position of the prefect should have been rightfully yours a long time ago. I don't understand what the Imperial Court is thinking. These prefects come and go like a revolving door, treating this place like a market. Yet, the Imperial Court keeps sending people one after another. I want to see when the Imperial Court will wake up. Only then will I know that you are the most suitable to be the prefect. Hearing this, Deputy Prefect Guan felt a twinge of indignation. Another superior had arrived, and this immediate comparison fueled his frustration. Waving his hand dismissively, he said, "Enough, there's no need for such talk. The Imperial Court has its own considerations. As for me, I'll just focus on doing my job." Mrs. Guan sneered again, "These prefects who come and go like a revolving door are mere decorations. The clay bodhisattva in the temple that can breathe is all thanks to you." Deputy Prefect Guan frowned, feeling even more exasperated. "Enough, don't say such things. I'm just a deputy prefect. Prefects' matters are inherently my concerns. Discuss these matters within the house, don't spread rumors outside. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know to report so we can fix it as soon as possible." Chapter 1647, Contempt. It was inconceivable for her to spread baseless rumors. Instead, she chose to lament everywhere about how her old master was overworked and exhausted. She painted a picture of his daily struggles, emphasizing how he was so busy that his feet barely touched the ground upon waking. Often, he didn't even have time to eat, and she couldn't leave him alone. She had to make decisions and follow his instructions. She expressed genuine concern that if this continued, his health might suffer. Mrs. Guan smiled, saying, "Old master, don't worry. It's not that I don't understand the seriousness of the situation. I'm just indignant on your behalf. I only gossip at home. If the family forbids me from speaking, I'll feel suffocated." Deputy Prefect Guan shared her sentiments. "By the way, you should meet Madame Qiao tomorrow or the day after." Deputy Prefect Guan smirked as he recounted Qiao Xian's words. Mrs. Guan erupted in anger. "What did you say? That woman. She wants me to pay my respects to her. Who does she think she is? She wants to impose herself on me. I'm utterly disgusted. Just wait, I'll teach her a lesson. I'll show her who holds the reins in An's province." Deputy Prefect Guan chuckled. "Wife, calm down. Although it's distasteful, isn't it easier to handle someone who doesn't hold back? On the surface, you can just appease her with a few pleasant words. After all, once she's appeased, won't she still be under your influence?" Mrs. Guan's heartbeat quickened. Reflecting on it, that did seem to be the case. Madame Qiao must be foolish to speak so brazenly in front of her old master. Such a person was indeed more manageable. However, Mrs. Guan's discomfort returned when she considered Madame Qiao's arrogance, impoliteness, and sense of superiority. "I must teach her a lesson. Otherwise, I'll truly be repulsed." This time, Deputy Prefect Guan remained silent, only cautioning, "Don't go too far. It won't be good if we end up in a feud." Mrs. Guan sneered, replying, "Don't worry, old master." In the east courtyard, there was an ample supply of funds and labor. Before long, the purchased items were transported back one by one. Ms. Miao, Ms. Song, Xia Senzeo's wife, Caillou's mother, and several other women efficiently organized the space, directing the unloading of items. The required rooms were swiftly filled with the purchased goods. Perhaps due to the abundance of mountains, forests, and high-quality wood in the area, the furniture surprised everyone with its excellent materials and craftsmanship. Li Xia and Li Qiao selected a set of quality furniture, and the owner gladly arranged for it to be delivered. There was an assortment of furnishings: 8 Immortal's table, chairs, chaise longue, long table, desk, bookshelf, walking bed, wardrobe, dressing table, round table, everything one could imagine. Having been with Qiao Xian for many years, Li Xia and Li Qiao knew her preferences well. As expected, Qiao Xian was highly pleased with the chosen furniture. With the furniture in place, curtains and drapes were partially sourced from the embroidery workshop and custom-made for the rest, ready in 3 days. Songshi also purchased several pots of flowers from the market, ranging in sizes and varieties, to adorn the house and courtyard. Qiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan, having brought a few pieces of furniture from the capital, placed them strategically to enhance the room's appearance and reduce the sense of emptiness. Beds and cabinets for the servants' quarters were easier to acquire, made from ordinary yet sturdy and durable fir wood. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know to report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1648. Provoke. With all the tasks completed, dusk settled outside, and the lights began to illuminate the surroundings. The restaurant-delivered food arrived, and appreciating everyone's hard work, Qiao Xian asked Li Xia to convey the message for them to rest after dinner. Even though they had settled down, there were still numerous tasks awaiting them in the future. Sun Bai and Sun Qian, vigilant as always, arranged for guards to keep watch through the night. A serene night unfolded. Nestled in Xiao Yunduan's arms, Qiao Xian felt a sense of contentment. This was their home. The following morning, Qiao Xian freshened up and headed to the garden with Li Xia, Li Qiao, and Mianmian. Meanwhile, Xiao Yunduan went to the front office to meet all the officers in the prefect's office. The garden, nurtured by Mrs. Guan, was thriving. Roses, gardenias, cuckoos, peonies, and crabapples were all in full bloom. The trees stood lush and green. In high spirits, Qiao Xian and her servants enjoyed a leisurely walk, a rare treat after the challenges they had faced on their journey. Qiao Xian's mischievous side surfaced. She suddenly felt the urge to provoke Mrs. Guan once again. Instructing Li Xia and the others to find a bamboo basket, Qiao Xian called Qing Lian, Qiao Qiao, and Kaiyue to pick the blooming flowers, roses, gardenias, and peonies. She intended to make lip gloss. Trimming branches from the well-blooming peonies and begonias with scissors, she planned to bring them back and arrange them in bottles. The cuckoos and hydrangeas caught her eye. She decided to carefully transplant them later into the east courtyard. Qiao Xian observed the maids picking and arranging flowers, engrossed in their work and laughter, when Mrs. Guan arrived with her attendants. An elderly woman shouted from a distance, "Where did these little girls come from? Hurry up and stop." Qiao Xian sneered and calmly said, "Just ignore her." The maids chuckled and responded, "Who is this old woman? She's shouting, that's right, who does she think she's scaring? Hey, don't say that." She suddenly shouted like this, "It really scared me, me too, me too." Seeing the maids unperturbed, Mrs. Guan grew angrier. She gritted her teeth and scolded, "How dare you be so arrogant the moment you arrive? Madam Xiao." Mrs. Guan, unable to contain her anger, addressed Qiao Xian with frustration. "This must be Madam Xiao, right? I'm the deputy prefect's wife. Madam Xiao, you've just arrived. Why don't you rest more? You seem to be in such a good mood." Li Xia glared at Nanny Ding and rebuked, "Auntie, were you the one shouting just now? Our madam is pregnant. You're scaring her with your sudden loud shouting. If anything happens to our madam, can you bear the responsibility?" Nanny Ding and Mrs. Guan were taken aback. Madam Xiao was pregnant. Despite being pregnant, she had endured the hardships to be with her husband. Nanny Ding smiled, I didn't know that Madam Xiao was pregnant. I deserve to be scolded. Please forgive me, Madam Xiao. I'll be more careful in the future. I'm also concerned. These flowers were meticulously cared for by my wife. It wasn't easy for them to look this beautiful. It's a shame to pick them. Madam Xiao, do you think we should tell the girls to stop?" Mrs. Guan added, "Madam Xiao, I wonder what your plans are for the flowers. It's spring, and you've just arrived. I was thinking of hosting a flower viewing banquet in a few days to invite all the ladies to appreciate the blossoms. If the flowers are gone, if you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know in report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1649. Furious Qiao Xian shot her a glance and nonchalantly remarked, "So what if they are gone? They're just a few flowers. I ordered them to be picked because I value them. Who says a flower viewing banquet must have actual flowers? It's just a title, Mrs. Guan, don't take it too seriously. Or did Mrs. Guan assign someone to tend to these flowers and forbid me from picking them?" Mrs. Guan was on the verge of exploding. Over the years, she had dealt with 7 wives of the prefect, each with varying degrees of intelligence, temperament, and attitude. However, Madame Qiao was the first to barge in without any regard for the reputation of others. It was one thing not to care about others' reputations, but did she not realize who she was? She was the wife of the deputy prefect. Did she understand that for her husband to smoothly handle official matters and live peacefully in Anne's province, he had to rely on his own husband, an idiot? Was she not afraid of retaliation from her husband? Lord Qiao was the primus and a confidant of the crown prince. What was the matter with him? How could he marry such a ridiculous wife? It was no wonder they were exiled to such a place. "Madame Qiao, you must be joking. They're just a few flowers. If you like them, feel free to pick them. However, once they're picked, these flowers will be gone. You'll find it difficult to enjoy them tomorrow or the day after tomorrow," forcing a smile, Mrs. Guan said. Qiao Xian sneered. "That is none of your business." Mrs. Guan felt a wave of dizziness and gritted her teeth. "You don't need me to do anything. I specifically had someone take good care of those flowers." Qiao Xian had no intention of picking the flowers, her aim was to lure Mrs. Guan and observe her reaction. At this moment, she was here too, making fun of her. Qiao Xian smiled and signaled Mianmian to come back. She scrutinized Mrs. Guan and raised an eyebrow. "Deputy Prefect mentioned yesterday that you weren't feeling well, but your complexion looks very good, your eyes are bright, your voice is loud, and your legs seem strong. I really can't tell where you're feeling unwell. Did you purposefully avoid greeting me?" Mrs. Guan's eyes widened. Mrs. Guan's breath grew heavier, and she nearly burst into curses. "Bully, this is too much. All right, just you wait. Do you really think you're so great just because you're the wife of the prefect? Do you think you can act so atrociously and lord over me? I'll let her know that I'm not to be trifled with and that I can't afford to offend you." "Madame Qiao, you've misunderstood," Mrs. Guan sounded a little angry and cold. At this moment, she couldn't squeeze out a smile anymore. "I was indeed not feeling well yesterday. I'm better today." "I see. It seems that I misunderstood you, Mrs. Guan." Mrs. Guan smiled but didn't say anything. She thought to herself, "You're not just misunderstood, you're simply unreasonable." Qiao Xian glanced at Nanny Ding. "Don't make such a big fuss in the future. I won't hold it against you this time, but if you scare me next time, it won't be so easy." Nanny Ding's heart trembled, and she hurriedly bowed her head with a smile. "Thank you for being magnanimous, Madame Qiao." These words were true. She was genuinely a little afraid. Qiao Xian's belly was not bulging yet, indicating that she must be pregnant within 3 months. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know in report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1650. The deputy prefect's wife is really arrogant. Pregnant women within the first 3 months are the most delicate. Any fright might lead to serious consequences. Additionally, Qiao Xian didn't require concrete evidence, if anything happened, she could simply blame Mrs. Guan for causing the distress, and it would be disastrous for Mrs. Guan. How could the unborn child of the prefect's wife be compared to a servant by the deputy prefect's wife? Even if she didn't pay with her life, the consequences would be severe. Qiao Xian departed with the maids, leaving Mrs. Guan glaring at her retreating figure. In reality, the maids hadn't picked many flowers. It was still just a small bunch. Mrs. Guan, however, found the flowers vexing. Not only were they an eyesore, but they also irritated her. She was seething with anger. This garden had originally been hers. The former prefect's wife, who was an invalid, never left the house and didn't appreciate these things. Mrs. Guan had long considered this piece of land as her own territory. But who would have expected such a difficult person to come? Taking a deep breath, Mrs. Guan ordered coldly, "Dig up all the roses in this area and replace them with chrysanthemums." "Yes, madam." Nanny Ding, nursing a grudge against Qiao Xian and her maids for ridiculing her, answered loudly and directed the maids to uproot the plants. She was at least a bit more sensible. Which prefect's wife wouldn't give her some respect? The response to not being greeted politely with a smile and a respectful "Nanny Ding" was really infuriating. Enraged, Mrs. Guan returned to her room, slammed the coffee table, and nearly shattered the teacup. How can there be such a shameless and domineering person? Who does she think she is? I'm so angry, so angry. Furious, Mrs. Guan gasped for breath. If Nanny Ding had been more sensible, she would have tried to console Mrs. Guan. However, feeling humiliated herself and harboring anger, she found Mrs. Guan scolding Qiao Xian to be rather satisfying. Instead of calming her down, Nanny Ding exacerbated the situation. During breakfast, while Qiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan were dining, Li Qiao returned and reported about the removal of the roses and Chinese roses. Mrs. Guan ordered the planting of chrysanthemums, claiming she was tired of roses. It seems like she deliberately opposed Mrs. Guan and wanted to provoke her. This Mrs. Guan is incredibly infuriating. Although Qiao Xian had been assertive, she hadn't demeaned or insulted Mrs. Guan. Asking someone to pick a few flowers wasn't a significant offense. At most, she had exchanged a few words with her. But had she done something wrong? When the prefect's wife arrived, the deputy prefect's wife, Mrs. Guan, pretended not to be aware and didn't even show her face. So, why couldn't Qiao Xian jest with her? It was preposterous. She hadn't come here to be mistreated. She was the prefect's wife, while Mrs. Guan was merely the deputy prefect's wife. Qiao Xian picked a few flowers in the garden and agitated her. How could Mrs. Guan slap her own face like this? It seemed like Mrs. Guan didn't take her seriously at all and treated this place as her personal territory. The deputy prefect's wife has quite the temper. Qiao Xian grinned. Xiao Yunduan arched an eyebrow. What did she do? Qiao Xian smiled, hearing that he was ready to support her. It's nothing, my husband. Don't worry about these trivial matters, I can handle them. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know to report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1651. 2 Bully Qiao Xian instructed Li Qiao, summon Kai Yun, Kai Yue, Ms. Song, and Ms. Miao. Inform them to halt their work. Let them know that I have a fondness for these flowers and want to keep them for my enjoyment. Anyone daring to defy will be subject to punishment and expulsion. Understood, madam. Li Qiao swiftly turned on her heels and sprinted away, fearful that the flower beds might be uprooted if she delayed. The flowers and trees were well established, with deep roots that had likely grown for numerous years. Eradicating them all would be a formidable task. When Li Qiao and the others arrived, the 4 maids had not yet started clearing the roses. Li Qiao rushed to the rose garden and reported to Qiao Xian. The maids hesitated, reluctant to take action. The prefect's wife held a higher status than the deputy prefect's wife. How could they dare to defy the prefect's wife's orders? However, each prefect's tenure in this place was short-lived. The longest stayed for less than 3 years, while the briefest departure occurred in less than half a year. On the other hand, the deputy prefect's wife and her husband had resided in this region for a decade. If they obeyed the prefect's wife now, who would bear the consequences when she departed, and the deputy prefect's wife sought retribution? One maid, with a forced smile, said to Qiao, "Miss, this is Mrs. Guan's directive. If we go against it, it won't end well." "Miss, why don't you speak to Mrs. Guan yourself?" Qiao glanced at them, showing no intention to make things difficult. "Of course. I'll inform Mrs. Guan immediately. You may leave now." "Thank you for your understanding, miss." "Thank you, miss." The 4 maids felt relieved but remained standing hesitantly at the side. Qiao led Kaiyun and Kaiwa to the west yard, while Ms. Song and Ms. Miao stayed behind, engaging in conversation with the 4 maids. Despite being newcomers, they had no intentions of staying within their own boundaries. Since there were no servants in the east courtyard, they saw no reason not to socialize. With Qiao Xian's pregnancy, the east yard was off limits. However, if they were to establish a presence in the west yard, building relationships with the existing staff was essential. Qiao, maintaining a polite tone, stood in front of Mrs. Guan. Yet, the very fact that she was here made Mrs. Guan so infuriated that her facial expression seemed distorted. Inwardly cursing, Mrs. Guan pondered how Qiao Xian had boldly contradicted her earlier. She had even reprimanded her servants. Now, she couldn't even remove the flowers she had planted. She was obliged to stay because Qiao Xian liked them. This felt like bullying to Mrs. Guan, an unbearable injustice. Mrs. Guan harbored animosity towards all the prefects' wives, considering them intruders who had assumed her husband's position. She despised this place, so why did they come here? Their disdainful expressions were irksome. Yet, of all the prefects' wives, it was the current woman she loathed the most. "How considerate of you to let us keep them if Madame Xiao likes them," Mrs. Guan said through gritted teeth, attempting a smile that almost broke 2 of them. Internally seething, Mrs. Guan thought, what else can I do? I'm only the wife of a deputy prefect. She's the superior official and can crush people. How can I reject someone who sends such brazen words through her servants? Qiao, grinning, responded, "Thank you, Mrs. Guan. Our madam will surely be delighted." Mrs. Guan almost retorted with a sarcastic "bah." She refrained, wondering why she should care whether Qiao Xian was happy or not. Qiao and her companions returned to the garden, instructing the 4 maids to replant the roses that were about to be uprooted and distribute them. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know to report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1652. Be careful. The 4 maidservants were relieved and readily agreed to the task. Qiao returned to report to Qiao Xian. Smiling, Qiao Xian turned to Xiao Yunduan, saying, "Husband, this is the life." Even in the capital, where Xiao Yunduan enjoyed fame and served as the crown prince's right-hand man, the couple was still overshadowed by more influential families. Though Qiao Xian wasn't one to suppress her emotions, she had to exercise caution. Regardless of her location, she found herself bowing to others. Now in An's province, as the prefect's wife, she held a superior position. Even if it was just a facade, couldn't she be straightforward? With her status, there was no need to beat around the bush. Xiao Yunduan indulgently smiled. Deputy Prefect Guan and his wife have deep roots in An's province after more than 10 years. My wife, you need to be vigilant when interacting with others. And make sure to bring Yi with you. The Deputy Prefect couple weren't virtuous, and Xiao Yunduan intended to settle scores with the Deputy Prefect soon. If his wife was going to challenge Mrs. Guan, he would be there to back her up. However, the possibility of Mrs. Guan seeking revenge covertly couldn't be ruled out, so caution was imperative. Qiao Xian nodded. Rest assured, husband, I will. Xiao Yunduan added, furthermore, don't stoop to her level, and try to keep your temper in check. If there's anything, let me know. Understood. After breakfast, Xiao Yunduan walked with Qiao Xian in the yard for a while before heading to the government office. Unraveling the intricacies of this place and discerning whether the people were merely humans or something more elusive would prove to be a challenging task. In the past, the prefects were all here to slack off and think of ways to leave quickly. They did not care at all. It was not an exaggeration to say that Deputy Prefect Guan was in charge of everything in An's province's government office. Those constables and scribes all acted according to Deputy Prefect Guan's intentions. The bailiffs below were probably the same. Qiao Xian asked someone to take out the strawberry seedlings from the flower pot and plant them in the backyard. She had also brought a lot of potatoes and cantaloupe seeds. Previously, she had asked Jing Sang and the others to come over and ask around. If there were suitable fields, she would buy them. She did not know if she could buy them. Sun Qian went out for a while. When he returned, he brought Jing Sang and the other two back. Qiao Xian was very happy. Jing Sang and the other two were also very happy. After exchanging greetings, they told Qiao Xian everything. The three local big families, the Mei family, the Hu family, the Fan family, and the largest three bandit dens, the Six Ridges Min family stronghold, the Six Harmonies fort of Snail Mountain, and the Tiger Roar gang Tiger Head stronghold. Jing Sang and the other two had inquired about the latest news, as well as some gossiping news that was unknown if it was true. There were also some stories about this Deputy Prefect Guan. Qiao Xian listened carefully and asked a few questions from time to time. Some Jing Sang and the others could answer, but some could not. But Qiao Xian knew more about this place now after hearing the details. She would tell this to Xiao Yunduan later. In a swift turn of events, noon arrived, and Xiao Yunduan dispatched a message through a messenger. The note conveyed that he would be leisurely spending time with Deputy Prefect Guan at the clan in front of the governmental office, adopting a nonchalant and casual demeanor. Consequently, he mentioned he wouldn't be returning promptly. If you find any errors, ads pop-up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know to report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1653, Buying Land. Qiao Xian extended an invitation to Jing Sang, urging him to stay for lunch, and the two continued their conversation afterward. To Qiao Xian's astonishment, they successfully acquired 1,000 mu of land in the southern suburbs. A middle-class affluent family was planning to relocate, selling off all their properties and fields except the ancestral home. Despite the nominal 1,000 mu, the actual area exceeded 1,200 mu. Jing Sang managed to secure the land at a remarkably low price, as those interested in purchasing such vast expanses couldn't afford them. Intrigued by the development, Qiao Xian expressed keen interest in visiting them in a couple of days. Coincidentally, it was the right time of the year to commence planting on the newly acquired land. Additionally, Jing Sang had purchased a sizable house in compliance with Qiao Xian's specifications. It needed to be large and well located. The chosen residence was a spacious one on Huayan Alley, the third street in the eastern part of the city. The courtyard, spanning over 12 mu, boasted 3 entrances and a garden. The new residence was conveniently located, allowing a carriage ride of just over a quarter of an hour to reach the state office. Jing Sang informed Qiao Xian that An's prefecture city was expansive but sparsely populated, with many vacant houses available for sale. Having already arranged for the house to be cleaned, Qiao Xian informed Jing Sang of her plan to visit them the next day. She noticed that Jing Sang and the others were still staying at the inn, prompting her to suggest, "You can move into the house now. It's not too late. Take Liu Fu, Aunt Song, and the others with you." they can stay there as well. Take some time to inspect the garden and consider where to establish a martial arts training ground. It will serve as a training facility in the future. We have Sun Bai, Sun Qian, Yi, and others here now. You don't need to worry. When we require your assistance, Lord will seek it. In case the government office is recruiting, would you mind holding a nominal position? With an official title, they could openly accompany Xiao Yunduan. Both Xiao Yunduan and Qiao Xian couldn't treat them as mere servants, so an alternative justification was necessary. Zheng Sang agreed without hesitation, adding with a smile, "We'll discuss it with Lord and Madam later. We'll serve as bailiffs." Despite their rough demeanor, being bailiffs seemed fitting. Qiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan had been concerned that Zheng Sang might be displeased, considering his past as a general. However, he suggested it himself, much to Qiao Xian's amusement. "If you're comfortable with that, it's perfect." Zheng Sang remained calm, saying, "Madam, you're overthinking. There's nothing to worry about." With that settled, Liu Fu, Ms. Song, and Ms. Miao began to make the move. Xia Sanzhao and his family joined them. Qiao Qiao and Qing Lian, not wanting to part, eagerly inquired if they could visit and play with Madame Li Xia and Li Qiao more often in the future. Qiao Xian happily agreed, allowing them to stay for a few days before making the move. Excited, the two girls cheered, prompting Liu Fu, Xiao Er, and others to also express their eagerness to stay and play. Qiao Xian responded with a smile. As the group departed, the east courtyard became noticeably emptier. Fortunately, they gained some companions along the way. During the journey, everyone became familiar with each other, providing ample opportunities to observe their behavior and temperament in various situations. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know to report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1654. The seed. They were all carefully chosen, ensuring that Ms. Song and her team wouldn't be short-handed during their absence. Within the expansive mansion, Ms. Song and Ms. Miao were preparing meals for everyone, while Xia Sanzhao and his family took care of various menial tasks. If the need arose, they could easily acquire 3 or 4 additional servants in the future. Prior to their departure, they instructed someone to keep an eye on the city gate. Upon the anticipated arrival of Wu Guan and the others in 2 days, they were to be directed straight to the mansion. Zheng Sang agreed to each instruction. As he was about to leave, Zheng Sang hesitated briefly before deciding to share, "Madam, there's something I heard through hearsay. I can't vouch for its accuracy, but I believe it's best to inform you. Please take it casually, indifferently. A few days ago, I accidentally overheard some news. It appears that there might be an issue with the spring plowing seeds in An's province this year. The Mei, Hua, and Fan families seem to be causing a stir about something. This could be a significant matter, and if mishandled, it might lead to a substantial problem. I intended to inquire further, but I couldn't uncover any concrete information. Therefore, I'm uncertain if it's true or not. Nonetheless, please advise my lord to exercise caution. If this information holds true, there's a high probability it might be targeted at him." Qiao Xian was taken aback and sincerely bowed to Zheng Sang. She addressed him seriously, "Thank you, Brother Zheng, this news is of utmost importance to us." "Hey, don't, Zheng Sang hastily moved aside, smiling in embarrassment. "Madam, please don't be like this. How can I accept this? Besides, I can't confirm the authenticity of this information." Qiao Xian shook her head with a smile. "Even if it turns out to be false, Brother Zheng, you have served as a valuable reminder for Lord. I am grateful to you as well. We must remain vigilant about this matter and make the necessary preparations." Feeding the people was a paramount concern. Without sustenance, all other considerations became inconsequential. Spring plowing was the most important thing of the year for the commoners. If anything went wrong, then Deputy Prefect Guan, who was always smiling, and the three big families, who were obviously not to be trifled with, would do something behind the scenes, and Xiao Yunduan would be put in a passive position. This was very dangerous. Zheng Sang had reminded them of something important, so Qiao Xian was very grateful that they had more time to prepare. Zheng Sang felt even more self-conscious upon hearing her gratitude. It's the least I can do. Xiao Yunduan returned before 3 in the afternoon. Having just arrived at the government office, he sensed countless pairs of eyes observing his every move from a not-too-distant vantage point. They meticulously analyzed each action, extracting numerous details about him. There was no immediate need for him to plunge into overtime upon arrival and inquire about everything. Aware that Mrs. Guan might have propagated rumors of Qiao Xian's supposed arrogance, he chose to adopt a more laid-back approach. Consequently, he gathered everyone for a morning meeting, engaged in a casual conversation with Deputy Prefect Guan, and enjoyed a leisurely meal. In the afternoon, he lingered for a while, perusing some inconsequential documents before heading back. Recognizing the value of a measured pace, Xiao Yunduan saw no urgency in hastening matters at the government office for a day or two. More haste, less speed. There had to be a way to find relaxation. His wife and the child in her womb needed his care even more. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know to report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1655. Qiao Xian is really calm. Qiao Xian was overjoyed to see him back. For pregnant women, nothing was more precious than the company of their loved ones. She asked with a smile, "Aren't you busy, husband?" Her joy multiplied when she heard his sweet assurance that her company was more important, choosing to accompany her in the afternoon. The sunlight was radiant at this hour, with several large trees in the garden casting a broad shade, their thick branches reaching up. Feeling the confinement of staying indoors during the vibrant spring, Xiao Yunduan decided to join Qiao Xian in the garden. Li Xia and the others thoughtfully brought out a long bamboo couch, placing it in the shady spot of the garden. A small coffee table adorned with a beautiful tablecloth held an array of treats, fruit plates, pastries, snacks, and candied plums. A small stove nearby crackled with burning charcoal, and a copper kettle emitted white steam. Li Xia efficiently brewed tea and served it to them. Kaiyue and the other little girls giggled and played around, engaged in cheerful activities with grass. Mrs. Guan, keeping an eye on the east yard, knew about Qiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan's activities. Despite her annoyance, Mrs. Guan had resolved not to divulge any details about the east courtyard, forcing herself to eat until full. She concealed her frustration, sneering at Nanny Ding and mocking Qiao Xian for being pretentious and disgusting. Qiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan had strategically chosen a location with no cover around the tree, preventing anyone from hiding or eavesdropping. This only added to Mrs. Guan's irritation. In high spirits, Qiao Xian settled down with Xiao Yunduan, updating him on Jing Sang's visit. Xiao Yunduan was surprised to learn that Jing Sang had already purchased a house and fields, prompting a smile. Brother Zheng is indeed very capable. Qiao Xian beamed. I mentioned that I would visit the mansion tomorrow. Are you busy? Not at all. I'll accompany you. Xiao Yunduan immediately agreed. That's wonderful. They exchanged smiles. Qiao Xian proceeded to share all the information Jing Sang had conveyed to her. While Xiao Yunduan couldn't verify its accuracy, the details weren't far-fetched. Even Xie Jingrong, unaware of the latest news, would find this information crucial. Xiao Yunduan's demeanor turned serious upon hearing about the seed issue. Speaking in a low voice, he remarked, "If not for Brother Jing's reminder, I might have overlooked this. Spring plowing is imminent, and it's indeed a critical matter. Any mishap could lead to civil unrest, and that's no trivial matter." Although they were distanced from the capital, making it less likely for the princes to target him as before, they might seize this opportunity to harm him. Qiao Xian reassured him gently, "Now that we're aware, we have ample time to make arrangements. Money is not an issue for us. Why don't we procure additional seeds?" Remaining calm, Qiao Xian continued, "Perhaps due to the pregnancy, my space hasn't shown signs of upgrading, and the land hasn't expanded further. However, the fertile farmland in my space still amounts to 4,000 mu. With rice and wheat ripening twice a year, the storage compartment already holds at least 3 to 5 million caddies. Even if a problem arises, we can discreetly use it as advanced seeds, ensuring a better yield than those outside. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know to report so we can fix it as soon as possible." Chapter 1656, New Manor. Xiao Yunduan nodded, pondered for a moment, and suggested, "It seems we need to send a trustworthy individual to Yuzhang and seek Brother Yuzhang's assistance." The Yuezhing family boasted extensive connections in the business world, making them an ideal source for procuring seeds with sufficient funds. While Qiao Xian considered Zhao Shu reliable, she acknowledged that Yuezhing Xiao's expertise in business surpassed his. Since Xiao Yunduan had no intention of asking Zhao Shu for help, she opted not to mention him. Instead, she smiled and said, "In that case, please ask young Master Yuezhing if he can assist us in acquiring various farming tools. I still plan to do some farming." Xiao Yunduan chuckled and agreed, "All right." The following morning, they visited the mansion on Huayan Alley, 3rd Street in the east of the city together. Zheng Sang, Miss Song, and Miss Miao were already waiting. Qiao Qiao and Qing Lian approached Qiao Xian with eager eyes, restrained only by their mother's warning not to throw themselves at Madame Xiao. After spending some time in the main hall, Zheng Sang led them on a tour of the house. When An's province was established, it occupied a vast area, but the population growth had been slow. In recent years, more people had migrated, and the mansions built by the affluent in the city were truly expansive. This three-way house was exceptionally large, covering over 12 mu. Qiao Xian estimated it to be closer to 15 mu. The garden, especially, stood out, surpassing even the one in the prefect's office. Despite having been neglected for a long time, the cleaning efforts by Zheng Sang and others left it still looking somewhat barren, lacking flowers. A few naturally growing trees added a touch of vitality. A lake within the garden, spanning nearly 2 mu, boasted clear water with aquatic plants growing on the shore. Remarkably, it was a living water source, fed by a spring in the lake that connected secretly to the outside, allowing water to flow. There was also a rectangular pavilion situated by the lake, offering an excellent spot for admiring the scenery or engaging in fishing. Qiao Xian particularly liked this place. Observing that the pavilion appeared a bit weathered, she contemplated having someone restore it. After thorough discussions, they circled the northeast corner of the garden and renovated the wall bordering the east courtyard. Transforming it into a martial arts training ground to accommodate daily training needs, they cultivated a cadre of servants with robust martial capabilities. The following day, they departed from the city to inspect the farmland they had acquired in the southern suburbs. Similar to other regions, acquiring extensive paddy fields proved challenging, while drylands were comparatively more accessible. However, this time, fortune smiled upon them. The plot of land turned out to be flat ground at the exit of a valley. Although small hills dotted the landscape, it was generally level, a rarity in the surrounding mountainous terrain. Surrounded by wasteland, one side bordered the mountain range, while the other extended with small undulating hills. Weeds covered the area, and shrubs and vines claimed territory everywhere. Even medium-sized trees grew sporadically. Qiao Xian pointed at the barren yet lush land, outlining a circle. Tugging at Xiao Yunduan's sleeve, she proudly declared, "Husband, I want all of this land. Let's start with 3,000 mu." Xiao Yunduan responded with a smile, okay. As the newly appointed official of the region, Xiao Yunduan found it amusing that his wife desired to claim a piece of wasteland. The procedure was remarkably convenient. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know to report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1657, Buying Land. In any case, they decided to sell the land at market price and engage in business. However, a mere 1,000 mu was not sufficient. Even 4,000 mu wasn't much, considering the limitations on developing plots suitable for easy farming. High mountains made cultivation inconvenient. Qiao Xian envisioned cultivating potatoes across the land. She aimed to elevate the status of potatoes in this region. Potatoes had proven to be highly productive. Both Lu Min and Gu Zhio had achieved commendable results and earned praise from the imperial court. Upon completing their 3-year terms, promotion for the duo was almost certain. Despite An's province's vast marshes, the scarcity of fertile fields resulted in insufficient food production. Promoting potatoes could potentially alleviate the food shortage. While 4,000 mu fell short of meeting their needs, it sufficed as a demonstration plot. Wu Guan and the others, including Jing Sang, were present that day. They relocated to a house 500 meters away in Huai'an Alley and went to the state office to meet Xiao Yunduan. Xiao Yunduan informed them of his intention to send a letter to Yuzhang, and he requested they organize a trip for its delivery. Jing Sang volunteered to go and promised to bring along another person. The journey to Yuzhang would take merely 2.5 days. Indeed, An's prefecture city was close to Yuzhang province city, only 500 miles away. However, the rugged mountain paths extended the travel time. Otherwise, it could be covered in less than 2 days. Xiao Yunduan agreed without objection, handing the carefully prepared letter to Jing Sang. He confirmed his departure for the following morning. In addition to purchasing 3,000 mu of flat land, Qiao Xian also acquired 50,000 mu of wilderness. Upon discovering this, Deputy Prefect Guan and Mrs. Guan burst into laughter, nearly dropping the teacups in their hands. How naive! They've even bought such a worthless piece of land. I wonder what they plan to do with it. The couple mocked Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan for a while. Mrs. Guan couldn't help but comment, those lands might not be worth much individually, but altogether, those 50,000 mu of wilderness amount to 50,000 taels of silver. And the large house in the east of the city, 2,000 taels of silver, along with thousands of mu of wasteland. That adds up to 60,000 taels of silver, doesn't it? They bought so many things on the day of their arrival. Ms. Qiao's set of mahogany furniture isn't cheap, and the tea table is made of inlaid snails. How do they have so much money? Deputy Prefect Guan felt a bit uneasy when she mentioned this. An's province was in turmoil, with numerous demands for money, yet his income was limited. Despite accumulating some wealth over the years, he didn't possess 100,000 taels of silver. The new prefect had only been there for a few days, and he had already spent nearly 100,000 taels of money. Even though it was his own money, the comparison was quite stifling. Deputy Prefect Guan pondered further, they're buying houses and land. Could it be that they plan to settle in An's? Mrs. Guan grew even angrier, sneering, that depends on whether they have the capability to stay here. Deputy Prefect Guan nodded in agreement. Madam, you're right. I think they've been here for a few days. It's time to host a welcome banquet. Madam, go and talk to Madam Xiao so we can send an invitation. Mrs. Guan had no desire to see Qiao Xian. Whenever she thought of her, the image of her proud demeanor and the term, paying respect, came to mind, leaving her utterly disgusted. She pretended to be indifferent, as she hadn't visited the East Yard to pay her respects, and Qiao Xian hadn't sent anyone to confront her, so she saw no need to engage with her. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please please let us know and report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1658. Liu Fu is happy. Observing her clear reluctance, Deputy Prefect Guan offered advice. She's the wife of the prefect, and you're the wife of the deputy prefect. You'll cross paths many times in the future. Don't let anger get the better of you, it only brings you down to her level. Mrs. Guan sighed, I won't stoop to her level. It's just that looking at such a person makes me unhappy. Old master is right. I can't avoid her from now on. Otherwise, she'll think I'm afraid of her. Reluctantly, Mrs. Guan visited Qiao Xian that day. Qiao Xian was in discussions with Songshi and Mianmian about farming, and Liu Fu, who was also keenly interested, had tagged along with Qiao Qiao, Qing Lian, and Xiao Er from the day before. Qiao Xian asked them to stay for a few days. Liu Fu's ears perked up at the mention of staying. His face revealed envy, catching Qiao Xian's attention. Amused, she asked if he wanted to assist Songshi with errands, as Songshi couldn't manage everything alone. Qing Yan, who was now working for Xiao Yunduan, showed no interest in these matters. Liu Fu eagerly nodded, expressing his willingness. Children from less privileged backgrounds mature early, burdened with the daily concern of putting food on the table. Liu Fu, in particular, envied those with fields. As he grew bolder, he began fantasizing about owning a large plot of land. Qiao Xian, noticing his eagerness, couldn't bring herself to disappoint him. With a smile, she said, all right, you can run errands with Songshi and handle accounts with Mianmian. Once you've learned everything in a few years, I'll hire you to manage the large fields. How does that sound? Liu Fu's joy was evident as he nodded enthusiastically and pledged, I'll be an adult in 2 years. I'll definitely seek guidance from elder brother Songshi and sister Mianmian. Amidst laughter, the conversation shifted to hiring people for farming when Mrs. Guan arrived. Qiao Xian, noticing her, furrowed her brows slightly, asked Songshi and the others to leave, and had Qiao invite Mrs. Guan inside. Mrs. Guan entered with a laugh, expressing, I've been wanting to come and chat with you for a while, but I've been unexpectedly busy these days. Today, I happen to have some free time, and I hope I'm not disturbing you, Madam Xiao. She took a seat on the left side of Qiao Xian with a smile. Internally amused, Qiao Xian noted Mrs. Guan's competitive nature. The impact of her words lingered, pushing Qiao Xian to find ways not to appear inferior. Yet, she dismissed the thought. Considering their respective positions as the wife of the deputy prefect and the wife of the prefect, deliberately avoiding confrontation seemed futile. In a good mood and with no immediate need for confrontation, Qiao Xian opted not to tease her further. She greeted Mrs. Guan with a smile, Mrs. Guan, what brings you here today? Mrs. Guan responded with a smile, yes, I have something to tell you today. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know and report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1659, Reception Banquet. Madam Xiao, you've been in An's province for a few days, and it seems you've had enough rest and recovery. A reception banquet is in order, and I'll be the host. Madam Xiao, I hope you'll honor me by attending tomorrow night, Mrs. Guan proposed. Qiao Xian, considering it an excellent opportunity to meet the local nobility and officials' wives, had this in mind. However, to maintain the image she had projected in front of Mrs. Guan, she had to uphold it for now. Thus, she frowned and instinctively displayed a look of disdain. After a moment of contemplation, she reluctantly nodded, very well, Mrs. Guan. You can make the arrangements. I'll be there. Mrs. Guan nearly choked on those words, inwardly cursing, who told you to act so high and mighty? You're so arrogant, you're out of your mind, and so on. Great, then the reception banquet will take place in the garden tomorrow. I'll send someone over to escort you, Madam Xiao. Mrs. Guan forced a smile, got up, and declared, I have matters to attend to. I won't disturb your rest. Goodbye. Qiao Xian simply replied, You may leave now. Mrs. Guan's body visibly trembled, and she almost seemed on the verge of spewing blood. She turned around, left with a straight face, and Qiao Xian and her servants burst into laughter. Liu suggested, We should tease her more. Those from the west courtyard are so irritating. Kaiyue, Mianmian, and the others agreed, voicing their disdain. The nannies and maids from the west courtyard frequently approached them in various ways, attempting to get close and inquire about their master. It was laughable. Did they truly believe that they could win them over with peanuts, melon seeds, snacks, an embroidered handkerchief, and 2 rough silk flowers? They were delusional. Mrs. Guan experienced a burning humiliation in front of Qiao Xian, feeling a fiery turmoil in her chest. She couldn't help but curse in frustration, letting out her anger before managing to suppress it. Subconsciously, she lowered her gaze to her attire. To save face in front of Qiao Xian, she had meticulously dressed herself before meeting her. The outfit was tailored from the finest brocades from Jiangnan, adorned with exquisite and elegant flowers, radiating nobility. The pearl-studded jade hairpins in her hair were among her most expensive accessories, featuring thumb-sized pearls that were round and snow-white, paired with dazzling and magnificent jade. However, when she presented herself to Qiao Xian, the latter didn't spare her outfit a glance, and even the hairpins on Qiao Xian's maids, Lixia and Liu, seemed equally exquisite. This dismissal made Mrs. Guan so furious that her face flushed with heat. The shame deepened as she noticed the emerald bracelet on Qiao Xian's wrist. Mrs. Guan acknowledged that not only her attire but even all her jewelry combined might not match the value of a single piece worn by Qiao Xian. The emerald bracelet spoke volumes of its supreme-grade quality, and even those with little knowledge of such things could sense its extraordinary nature with just a few glances. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know to report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1660. Feeling offended back in her room, Mrs. Guan grew angrier as she dwelled on the encounter. After venting her frustration, she sneered maliciously. Doesn't she know where she is? She's the one flaunting her wealth. Someone will come down from the mountain one day, The thought of them being robbed one day brought a hint of satisfaction to Mrs. Guan, a dark look flashing across her eyes. Nanny Ding, noticing Mrs. Guan's emotions, tried to console her, and they began discussing the arrangements for the banquet the next day. The reception banquet had already been prepared, and the invitations were ready. It was an event that had to take place sooner or later. Nanny Ding swiftly dispatched people to deliver invitations and provided the menu to the kitchen for arrangements. The opera troupe, having been informed a few days ago, was ready to perform. Mrs. Guan, torn between her desire to showcase her hosting abilities and her reluctance to make the reception too grand for Qiao Xian, found herself annoyed. In the end, her inclination to flaunt prevailed. Mrs. Guan meticulously inquired about the banquet details and made specific arrangements. The following day, Mrs. Guan organized a reception banquet in the garden, while DeputyPrefect Guan and the 3 major families collectively reserved the best local restaurant to welcome Xiao Yunduan. Around 10 in the morning, guests began to arrive one after another in the backyard of the state government office. Qiao Xian wasted no time and headed to the reception pavilion in the garden. Although the reception was in her honor, being held in the government office made her the host. Arriving early seemed more appropriate, allowing her to greet the guests individually and gain a better understanding of the situation. When Qiao Xian arrived with Lixia, Liu, Kaiyue, Kaihua, Qiao, and Qing Lian, only 2 or 3 ladies were present, and Mrs. Guan was engaged in conversation with them. Upon noticing Qiao Xian and her attendants approaching, Mrs. Guan's smile froze, and an instinctive feeling of territorial violation crept in. Strangely enough, she hadn't experienced this sensation even when other prefect wives visited. Or if she did, it was fleeting and quickly dissipated. Yet, the intrusion of Madame Qiao into her perceived territory was particularly potent for Mrs. Guan. It almost overwhelmed her, causing her to suppress a smile and curse inwardly. Mrs. Guan took a deep breath, glanced at the three ladies, and forced a smile. "This is Madame Qiao. Let's welcome her." As they approached, Mrs. Guan chuckled. "The guests haven't arrived yet, but here you are. A distinguished guest like you should be the grand finale." Qiao Xian smiled in response. "Certainly, important guests should be the highlight, but being the host, it's more appropriate for me to arrive early." Her gaze shifted to the three ladies, and she continued with a smile. "Allow me to introduce." Mrs. Guan found herself on the defensive in this round. Gritting her teeth, she spoke with a forced smile. "This is the first Madam and second Mrs. Wen, and here is elder Miss Wen, the daughter of the first Madam. And this is Madame Qiao, the new wife of the prefect." The two ladies and elder Miss from the Wen family greeted Qiao Xian with smiles. Returning the gesture with a gentle smile, Qiao Xian raised her hands. "So you are the ladies of the Wen family. Please, don't stand on ceremony. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know to report so we can fix it as soon as possible." Chapter 1661. Guest Qiao Xian smiled and complimented eldest Miss Wen on her gentle temperament and outstanding appearance. Eldest Miss Wen responded with a shy smile, bringing joy to the two ladies. First Madam Wen maintained a humble smile. Initially somewhat nervous, the two ladies from the Wen family observed that Madame Qiao exuded a pleasant demeanor, gradually putting them at ease. They engaged in polite conversation with Qiao Xian. Mrs. Guan, however, grew increasingly displeased. With a forced smile, she interrupted and inquired about the health of the Wen family's old master. Unable to contribute much to this topic, Qiao Xian refrained from speaking and instead enjoyed her tea with a smile, allowing the conversation to unfold. The two madams of the Wen family felt a bit uncomfortable discussing their father-in-law's illness on such a festive occasion. Caught in a dilemma, they couldn't ignore Mrs. Guan either. Fortunately, relief came with the arrival of another lady. Mrs. Guan greeted her warmly, recognizing a familiar face. The conversation shifted, and the two Wen ladies breathed a sigh of relief. Mrs. Guan, whether she liked it or not, continued introducing guests to Qiao Xian with a forced smile. Despite her initial anger, she began to numb to the situation. She couldn't halt the introductions, considering Qiao Xian's pivotal role as the distinguished guest in all future banquets. As more guests arrived, the garden buzzed with activity. Fragrant-clad women filled the air with chatter and laughter. Finally, the two madams of the Huo family, one of the three prominent families in An's province, made their entrance. They were accompanied by second Mrs. Huo's two daughters. First Madame Huo had only two sons and no legitimate daughters, but she had three concubine daughters, none of whom accompanied her to the gathering. As one of the three major families, the Huo family held a higher status than the other clans. Upon the arrival of the two madams from the Huo family, the other madams stood up, offering warm greetings to demonstrate their respect. Even Mrs. Guan unconsciously became more polite and displayed a kinder smile. The two madams Huo secretly reveled in their elevated status. With the longest history in An's province and deep roots, the Huo family considered themselves unrivaled. Even officials' wives were courteous, a sign of the respect they commanded. Seated, the two madams Huo, along with their daughters Huo Ruyu and Huo Ruxian, maintained an air of pride even in Qiao Xian's presence. First Madame Huo greeted Qiao Xian as if she were the host, praising An's province's richness, beautiful scenery, and simple-hearted people. "Madame Qiao, being new here, you'll find our place quite delightful once you explore more. I propose we organize a gathering together." Laughter and agreement rippled through the assembly. Qiao Xian responded with a warm smile, her eyes radiating brightness. First, Madam Hua, your words make it sound enticing. I'm genuinely interested. I plan to explore the area soon, and we can certainly arrange a celebration together. Supportive smiles and expressions of honor filled the room. After a while, the two madams of the Mei family arrived. The Mei family lacked an old master or old lady, with the eldest son overseeing affairs. The three brothers still resided together. However, third Madam Mei was absent that day, and the daughters of the Mei family did not accompany their mothers to the gathering. If you find any errors, ads pop-up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know to report so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1662. Hope failed. She was dumbfounded. Although the Mei family possessed abundant local farmland and mountain shops, their primary business centered around wood and furniture. Most family members often traveled for business, and they maintained a peculiar temperament, avoiding close interactions with other family clans. They preferred solitude, distancing themselves from social engagements. The three brothers of the Mei family were formidable individuals. If provoked, they wouldn't engage in open disputes. Instead, the offending family would gradually experience hardships, ultimately reaching a point of ruin. These repercussions appeared unrelated to the Mei family on the surface. Initially, nobody suspected the Mei family's involvement. However, over time, a few discerning individuals began connecting the dots, sharing this information among the prominent families. Soon, none dared to easily offend the Mei family. Outwardly, the Mei family maintained an air of calmness, behaving as if they were never involved in anything sinister. The two Mei family ladies courteously greeted Qiao Xian, the prefect's wife, and then took their seats without further conversation. Exchanging pleasantries seemed unnecessary. However, no one dared to disregard or underestimate them. Several madams smiled, taking the initiative to greet the Mei family. Qiao Xian, not rushing to establish connections, observed the Mei family's distinctiveness. Indeed, they differed significantly from other families. Mrs. Guan felt a bit disappointed. She had anticipated witnessing a spectacle. After all, Qiao Xian's arrogance and conceit left no room for anyone to save face. How could she tolerate any perceived disrespect from the two Mei family ladies? If she dared to confront them publicly, they would respond with an unyielding attitude. Moreover, they would undoubtedly use their influence to bring harm upon both her and the prefect. However, this was the characteristic nature of the Mei family. To Mrs. Guan's surprise, Qiao Xian displayed no reaction at all. There was no indication of her intending to argue with the Mei family ladies, nor did she exhibit any signs of anger towards them. Disappointed and a bit dumbfounded, Mrs. Guan suddenly recalled that Madame Xiao appeared different from what she had observed in the past. No, it wasn't just a seeming difference, it was an outright change. Previously, Madame Xiao had consistently presented herself in an annoying manner. Yet today, she greeted everyone with smiles, gentleness, and amiability. Mrs. Guan grew even more infuriated, internally scolding Qiao Xian for putting on a facade and pretending to be someone she was not. She now understood that Madame Xiao was deliberately here to embarrass her and make her unhappy. She wasn't alone in this realization. Even her husband, Lord Xiao, seemed to be picking a fight with her and her old master. Mrs. Guan's determination to fight back surged, and she sneered inwardly. Lord Xiao and Madame Xiao held no sway in An's province. If they wanted trouble as soon as they arrived, then she wouldn't hold back. The final guests to arrive were the madams and young ladies of the Fan family. The Fan family, along with the Hua family and the Mei family, constituted the three major families in An's province. Currently led by Old Lady Fan, the Fan family had 2 sons and a daughter. Old Lady Fan cherished her daughter greatly and couldn't bear to see her married off. Fearing potential mistreatment in another family, she took it upon herself to find a suitable husband for her. This decision had surprised many. Nevertheless, as long as the Fan family was willing, there were individuals eager to offer their sons as potential matches to gain a powerful in-law like the Fan family. Others had no grounds for objection, and they congratulated the couple during the wedding banquet, saying, "Congratulations. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know to report so we can fix it as soon as possible." Chapter 1663, biased in this direction. As for the two sons of the Fan family, now known as First Old Master Fan and Second Old Master Fan, along with their respective wives, it was none of their concern. Upon hearing the news, Qiao Xian was equally surprised. Doting on a daughter didn't seem to be that straightforward. If he truly favored his daughter, then it was imperative to instill in her the qualities of discernment, knowledge, talent, responsibility, courage, and intelligence. Qiao Xian believed in providing her with adequate protection and support, ensuring she possessed the skills to navigate through life's challenges wherever she went. In the best-case scenario, she would lead a content and fulfilling life. This, Qiao Xian considered genuine love for a daughter. Yet, the fact remained that he favored his daughter over his two sons. Despite having two sons, he chose to keep his daughter at home in pursuit of a suitable son-in-law. In the context of ancient times, was this truly an expression of paternal affection? Had he considered how his sons and daughters-in-law would treat his daughter in his absence? Qiao Xian found his bias towards his daughter somewhat peculiar. Even if they were reluctant to let their daughter face challenges in her in-laws' house, they could have provided more dowry and support for the couple within the Fan family's influential background. They doubted that with the Fan family's status and local influence, the in-laws would dare to separate the couple. Upon learning that old lady Fan was perceived as conceited, prideful, and arbitrary, Qiao Xian wasn't surprised. Such a temperament was inconsistent with taking such drastic measures. Today, the Fan family had dispatched the first Madam, second Mrs. Fan, along with second Mrs. Fan's two daughters, Fan Jing and Fan Xiao. Additionally, the young Madam of the Fan family, Bai Ruirue, and her daughter were present. While first Madam Fan had a legitimate son, Fan Yuzong, the second branch of the family lacked a son, even from a concubine. Fan Ruyan and her husband had a son, Bai Mo, who was only 2 years younger than Fan Yuzong. This time, the atmosphere within the Fan clan was even more vibrant. Madam Lady Qiao had consistently exhibited arbitrary behavior, leveraging her seniority with an air of arrogance and narrow-mindedness. Regardless of the banquet, she would invariably be the last to arrive, a habit that permeated the entire Fan family of women. Today was no exception, and everyone had grown accustomed to it. Mrs. Guan warmly welcomed them and introduced Qiao Xian with a smile. Before first Madam Fan and second Mrs. Fan could utter a word, Fan Ruyan broke into laughter. "I never imagined Madam Xiao to be so young. Lord Xiao is indeed youthful and promising. Anzisu is fortunate to have him as an official. Madam Xiao exudes demure charm, and I feel an instant connection with her." First Madam Fan and second Mrs. Fan exchanged glances, offering smiles that seemed to affirm Fan Ruyan's words. However, a discerning eye could detect a lack of genuine warmth in their expressions. It was clear they were compelled to go along with and support Fan Ruyan, demonstrating a silent understanding between the two. Qiao Xian maintained a polite smile, responding to the seemingly spoiled Fan Ruyan. However, Qiao Xian had no interest in engaging with such a self-righteous individual. Establishing genuine friendship with someone of such demeanor appeared nearly impossible. Either one's status had to significantly surpass hers, eliciting wholehearted flattery, or there was little room for equal footing. Chapter 1664. What a prodigal! If your status is inferior to hers, she will undoubtedly view you with disdain, treating you merely as a lackey to be summoned and manipulated at will. Furthermore, dealing with such an individual could be precarious due to their small-minded nature. A seemingly innocuous statement or minor incident might unknowingly incur her displeasure, leading to unforeseen consequences and potential retaliation. Hence, it is advisable to maintain surface-level politeness and keep a safe distance from such personalities. Unexpectedly, Qiao Xian had already unintentionally irked Fan Ruyan. Upon arriving at An's province, Qiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan promptly purchased a house and land. The laughter wasn't confined to Deputy Prefect and Mrs. Guan, many others chuckled behind their backs. The couple's claim of hailing from the capital only fueled the mockery. The decision to invest in a desolate mountain and wilderness appeared short-sighted to onlookers. Questions arose. Wasn't the spacious courtyard behind the state government office sufficient for their needs? And the extravagant purchase of a separate house for servants seemed wasteful. People struggled to comprehend the couple's motives. Did they plan to stay in this remote area for an extended period? Such a notion was unprecedented. The Fan family, particularly Fan Ruyan, took delight in ridiculing Qiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan. Fan Ruyan, adept at making jests, had been entertaining her mother with tales of their purchases. Connecting the dots, she voiced her concern to her mother. Lord Xiao and Madame Xiao seemed so fixated on farmland that they even bought desolate land in the wilderness. Are they hinting that we should provide them with prime farmland? Mom, what if Lord Xiao brings it up? We need a strategy. Old Lady Fan agreed with her daughter's assessment and felt a surge of disdain. Daring to contemplate our benefits and seize them, they will face the consequences. They must be courting death. Tell your brothers to be careful. First Old Master Fan and Second Old Master Fan dismissed the concerns, believing that local officials wouldn't engage in such actions. They considered local officials to be astute individuals, aiming to maintain good relations with prominent local families for effective governance. Their confidence was bolstered by the fact that their Fan clan held a prestigious position among the three great clans, alleviating any apprehensions. In their view, An's province differed from other regions, and even if the prefect harbored any greed, it would likely be limited to monetary interests. The fields, they reasoned, were not beyond his reach. Consequently, they reassured their mother that there was no need for undue worry. However, Fan Ruyan found her brother's lack of agreement disheartening. She persistently pressed them, expressing her discontent and feeling slighted. Aware that she had initiated the discussion, she vehemently defended her stance, exacerbating the discord with her two brothers, who already harbored disdain for her. This discord displeased Old Lady Fan, prompting her to reprimand her two sons. Taking a firm stand in support of Fan Ruyan, she lectured them, being cautious is not amiss. Lord Xiao and his wife are even eyeing the wilderness. It's uncertain they won't covet our fields. Ruyan has a point. We must plan ahead and devise a strategy. We can't afford to lose out. As elder brothers, your considerations must match Ruyan's thoroughness. The two sons, well aware of their mother's temperament, hesitated to challenge her, understanding the difficulty of pacifying her once angered. Reluctantly, they placated her, as being labeled unfilial was a scenario they could ill afford. Chapter 1665. Remembering Qiao Xian. Therefore, the two old masters of the Fan family promptly apologized to their mother and sister, assuring them that they would attentively consider their viewpoints. Old Lady Fan and Fan Ruyan's spirits lifted again. Fan Ruyan had attended the banquet to scrutinize Madame Xiao's appearance. Despite preparing herself to be critical, upon seeing Qiao Xian, she found no fault to pick at. Madame Xiao, young, beautiful, gracious, gentle, and elegant, captivated attention with her splendid attire, emerging as the focal point of the gathering. She possessed an allure that held people's gazes for an extended moment. Feeling somewhat perplexed, Fan Ruyan couldn't discern whether she was disappointed or not. Despite her uncertainty, she found herself smiling at Qiao Xian, either out of curiosity or a desire to glean information about the genuine noble families in the capital. Even though the prefect of An's prefecture saw frequent turnovers and changes, no prefect had hailed from the capital until Lord Xiao's appointment, making him the first. Yet, despite Fan Ruyan's attempt to extend goodwill, it wasn't apparent to onlookers. She believed that her willingness, as the great-aunt of the Fan family, to express goodwill towards the new prefect's wife should elicit surprise and gratitude. However, Qiao Xian's response showed no signs of surprise, happiness, or gratitude. Despite her smiling demeanor and gentle tone, Qiao Xian treated her no differently than others, leaving Fan Rian feeling slighted, as if she had been overlooked. As Fan Rian picked up her teacup, her expression soured, and she mentally noted to Qiao Xian, "Just wait and see." Qiao Xian remained oblivious to the unfolding dynamics. As everyone arrived one after another, it neared noon. With a warm smile, Mrs. Guan sought Qiao Xian's opinion, proposing to commence with the banquet before the entertainment. Qiao Xian, displaying no objections, graciously thanked Mrs. Guan with a polite smile. Mrs. Guan's smile grew even more gracious and genial, repeatedly stating it was her duty while secretly harboring less pleasant thoughts. As the banquet commenced, Mrs. Guan invited Qiao Xian to the main table and gestured for everyone to be seated. With a smile, she informed Qiao Xian, "I've arranged for the renowned specialty dishes of An's province. Madam Qiao, as our distinguished guest, you must savor them later. The local delicacies are highly esteemed by the residents here." Laughter filled the air. "That's right. Anz's cuisine is exceptional. Madam Qiao, you must give it a try and see how much you enjoy it. Madam Qiao is sure to be pleased." Observing the peculiar smiles on everyone's faces, Qiao Xian couldn't help but wonder about the enigmatic culinary surprises Mrs. Guan had in store. Intrigued, she remained unfazed. If Mrs. Guan anticipated her discomfort or an embarrassing situation, she would likely be disappointed. Qiao Xian had encountered and tasted many unusual dishes that were beyond Mrs. Guan's imagination. Before the first dish made its appearance, an unpleasant odor wafted through the air. Li Xia and Kaiyue were the ones serving Qiao Xian, while Kaihua, Li Qiao, and Qiao Qiao were stationed elsewhere with Mrs. Guan's proficient maids and servants. Chapter 1666, Who Wouldn't Like to Watch the Show? Upon catching the pungent odor of the fish, both Li Xia and Kaiyue frowned, directing annoyed glances at Mrs. Guan. Their irritation stemmed from the perceived bullying they felt from Mrs. Guan. In their view, using local dishes as a pretext was just an excuse. How could Mrs. Guan dare to serve something like this to Madame, especially considering her pregnancy? Madame hadn't experienced morning sickness during her pregnancy, thanks to her robust health and the attentive care provided by Lord. His meticulous concern extended to every aspect of Madame's life, particularly her diet, where he maintained an unwavering vigilance. Madame's recent diet had been a collection of light and delectable dishes, with a variety of soups prepared daily to ensure she didn't lose her appetite. In stark contrast, Mrs. Guan had orchestrated a foolish attempt to serve something unconventional. Qiao Xian's composed expression only fueled Mrs. Guan's inner sneer, finding solace in Li Xia and Kaiyu's visible discontent. Curling her lips, Mrs. Guan introduced the fish to Qiao Xian with a warm smile, claiming it as Anz's secret stinky fish, reserved for the most esteemed guests, emphasizing Madame Xiao's importance. "Madame Xiao, be our guest and have a taste of this exclusive delicacy." The laughter from the other ladies echoed Mrs. Guan's sentiment. However, it was apparent to everyone that outsiders might find this dish challenging to appreciate. Typically, if such a unique dish were to be served, it would be explained to the esteemed guests beforehand. They would then decide whether to try it or not. Mrs. Guan's actions seemed more geared toward embarrassing the prefect's new wife. Those who outwardly supported Mrs. Guan were likely maintaining their rapport with her. However, many believed that the prefect's tenure might be short-lived, and consequently, they paid little attention to Qiao Xian. Who wouldn't like to watch a show? Fan Rian took particular delight in the situation, relishing the hope that Qiao Xian would embarrass herself. This was precisely why Fan Rian mockingly referred to her as Rui. Mrs. Guan, orchestrating the theatrical presentation, directed the maid to place the dish in front of Qiao Xian. Rather than succumb to potential embarrassment, Qiao Xian exhibited genuine interest, expressing with a smile, since it's a specialty of An's prefecture, I should give it a try. However, Mrs. Guan, you've mistaken me for a distinguished guest. I am, in fact, the wife of the prefect. Mrs. Guan's smile faltered, and she half-jokingly remarked through gritted teeth, my apologies. Madam Xiao, you're truly magnanimous. Please don't take it to heart. Qiao Xian reciprocated with a smile. Mrs. Guan, there's no need to apologize. It's not a significant matter. I'm merely reminding you that I'm here in An's province with my lord, not as a mere guest. That's right, absolutely, echoed Mrs. Guan, feigning agreement with a forced smile. As they exchanged smiles, an undercurrent of mutual disdain lingered between them. Qiao Xian disliked Mrs. Guan's constant attempts to assert her dominance, as if Qiao Xian had encroached upon her territory. Conversely, Mrs. Guan harbored a general aversion towards Qiao Xian. Maintaining her composure, Qiao Xian instructed Li Xiao to pick up some fish with chopsticks. After tasting it, she nodded approvingly at Mrs. Guan and remarked with a smile, this stinky fish has a pungent aroma, but the taste is delightful. It seems to be marinated and dried, offering a chewy texture and a hint of sunshine in its flavor. Chapter 1667, Who Knows? This weirdo Qiao Xian greeted everyone with a warm smile. Let's eat. Caught off guard, Mrs. Guan quickly composed herself and responded, yes, yes, please, please. Smiles and pleasantries were exchanged before everyone began partaking in the dishes presented. Dish after dish was served, and, for the most part, Mrs. Guan had successfully organized the reception banquet. Any hiccups or mishaps would reflect on her, and the guests were well aware of this, with Qiao Xian being absolved of any responsibility. Mrs. Guan's desire to embarrass Qiao Xian remained unfulfilled, leaving her with no outlet for her frustration. Aware of Qiao Xian's pregnancy, Mrs. Guan estimated that it hadn't progressed beyond 3 months. As a mother of 2, she possessed keen insights into the signs of pregnancy, particularly the early stages. During the initial 3 months, most pregnant women experienced nausea, vomiting, loss of appetite, and overall discomfort. In some cases, these symptoms could be quite severe, making even a few sips of water nauseating. Given the strong aroma of the secret stinky fish, Mrs. Guan doubted that many outsiders could stomach it, let alone a pregnant woman in the early stages. She secretly hoped Qiao Xian would experience a bout of nausea or, better yet, vomit on the spot. Such an embarrassing spectacle would leave an indelible mark on the prefect's wife. Regardless of future banquets in An's province, the memory of this reception would linger, stoking Mrs. Guan's anger. The more Mrs. Guan dwelled on it, the more she deemed it a brilliant idea. She eagerly anticipated Qiao Xian's reaction, only to be met with bewilderment. This odd woman, clearly in the early stages of pregnancy, managed to enjoy the stinky fish with a smile, even going so far as to praise its supposed sunlight aroma, which Mrs. Guan found non-existent. Regret gnawed at Mrs. Guan. Had she foreseen this outcome, she might have prepared alternative dishes. Now, facing this awkward situation, she feared becoming the subject of mockery among the attending ladies. As the banquet unfolded, the madams indulged in wine, contributing to a lively atmosphere. Pear blossom wine, with its mellow and moderately sweet flavor, was served. Qiao Xian, sharing news of her pregnancy with a smile, received congratulations but refrained from drinking. Fan Rien harbored regret, convinced that if Qiao Xian weren't pregnant, Mrs. Guan would persist in embarrassing her, perhaps urging everyone to toast her or even concocting some mischief in her drinky an entertaining scenario, in her opinion. The banquet proceeded smoothly, and after consuming noodles, the madams strolled leisurely into the garden to digest their food, sipped tea, and engaged in conversations. Some took breaks to freshen up. Nearly an hour later, they regrouped to enjoy opera and other entertainment. Qiao Xian found herself in the parlor, engaged in conversation with several ladies. Mrs. Guan had contemplated returning to her room for a wardrobe change but hesitated, reluctant to leave Qiao Xian alone. Uncertain about the topic of discussion among the ladies, she decided to join them and engage in conversation. Chapter 1668. Young Master Guan. Mrs. Guan understood that if Qiao Xian persisted in making friends with the other ladies, she would find ample opportunities, and Mrs. Guan couldn't prevent her. Nevertheless, Mrs. Guan found it unbearable to witness Qiao Xian's sociable interactions right under her nose. Seeing Qiao Xian chatting amiably with the other ladies filled her with discontent, and she silently wished that the ladies would ignore Qiao Xian altogether. Sensing it was almost time for a break, Mrs. Guan stood up and suggested that everyone head to the garden stage to enjoy the show. This tactical move aimed to curtail the prefect's wife's conversations with the other madams, which had become an eyesore for Mrs. Guan. Qiao Xian, along with the others, exited the reception pavilion. To her surprise, shortly after leaving the pavilion, as they walked halfway along the corridor toward the waterside theater, a boy around 7 or 8 years old darted towards them. Chasing after him were a maidservant who appeared to be a nanny and 2 more maidservants. Recognizing the child, the madams and young ladies greeted him enthusiastically and made way. "Hello, young Master Guan." It was Guan Jialing, the son of the deputy prefect and his wife. Known for his mischievous nature, Guan Jialing, pampered by his mother, often acted as a little tyrant in the state government office's backyard. Even when attending events as a guest, he rarely displayed well-behaved conduct. With the reception banquet for Qiao Xian underway, Mrs. Guan foresaw being occupied and unable to attend to her son. Anxious that he might cause trouble, yet concerned he might be mistreated, Mrs. Guan instructed the nanny and 2 maids to care for the young master and prevent him from leaving the west yard. The nanny and the 2 maidservants reluctantly accepted the order, all the while nursing silent complaints in their hearts. Dealing with young master's strong-willed personality posed a formidable challenge, and they knew it wouldn't be easy to confine him to the western campus for an entire half-day. Their expectations turned out to be accurate. Despite their best efforts, they could only manage to detain him for half a day. After lunch, all attempts to restrain him proved futile. Small in stature but surprisingly strong, he resisted any attempts to control him physically. Moreover, given his favored status as the master's son and his tendency to complain to Mrs. Guan, the nanny and 2 maids dared not impede his movements. Fearing repercussions if he reported their actions to Mrs. Guan, they opted to avoid any confrontation. Besides, having been on the receiving end of his physical aggression for no apparent reason before, they deemed it not worth the trouble. Resigned to the situation, the nanny and the 2 maidservants accompanied him beyond the west courtyard, allowing him to frolic in the expansive garden. Children, inherently energetic, were especially exuberant when mischievous. Considering they were within the estate's grounds, the nanny and maidservants exercised leniency, taking advantage of the moment to rest. To their surprise, in the blink of an eye, Guan Jialing had vanished. Upon spotting him, the nanny observed him heading towards Madame Xiao's reception banquet and hastened to catch up. As her son approached, Mrs. Guan cast a disapproving glance at the nanny and the 2 maids, though a trace of happiness lingered at the sight of her son after a brief absence. Before Mrs. Guan could utter a word, Guan Jialing abruptly shook her off and kicked Qiao Xian, startling everyone present. Reacting swiftly, Qiao blocked Qiao Xian's path, but Guan Jialing persistently kicked and hit her several times while vehemently scolding her. "Who told you to bully my mother? Who told you to bully my mother? I will kick you to death." Hit, hit, hit. Upon realizing it was Qiao who bore the brunt of the kicks, Guan Jialing redirected his aggression toward Qiao Xian. Chapter 1669. Shouldn't Mrs. Guan give an explanation? Qiao hurriedly intervened to stop Guan Jialing, while Li Xia, frightened, assisted Qiao Xian to a safer location. People, startled by the commotion, quickly regained their senses and rushed forward to help. Anxiously crying out, Mrs. Guan pleaded, "Jar! Stop, as she rushed forward to pull him away. The already narrow corridor became even more crowded, with people pushing and colliding amid the chaos. The cacophony of screams and shouts intensified. Lord Qiao swiftly intervened, pulling Guan jolling back from the turmoil. Mrs. Guan, fearing her son might be hurt inadvertently, struggled to keep pace. "Jar, calm down. Don't misbehave." Concerned that Qiao Xian might retaliate against her son, Mrs. Guan sought to protect him and instructed those around her, "Take the young master home, be cautious, and avoid frightening Himeyuro." The tumultuous atmosphere, filled with shouts and screams, distressed her son. Mrs. Guan's heart ached at the thought. Liu, Kaihua, Qiao, and the others were present, and upon seeing Qiao Xian unharmed, they sighed in relief. As the scene gradually calmed, Mrs. Guan, looking at her son with concern, appeared as if he had been wronged. Qiao Xian, incensed, sneered and addressed Mrs. Guan, "Mrs. Guan, don't you owe me an explanation?" All eyes turned toward them, and the madams and young ladies waited for Mrs. Guan's response. In the face of Qiao Xian's question, Mrs. Guan felt a mixture of embarrassment and irritation. She struggled to maintain composure, forcing a smile as she replied, "Madam Qiao, the child is still young and thoughtless." "Are you genuinely upset by such a child?" Li Xia and the others, infuriated by Mrs. Guan's shameless behavior, glared at her with disdain. Qiao Xian sneered. "Indeed, the child is young and naive, but I would like to know, Mrs. Guan, where did he pick up such words? Who taught him this? When did I ever mistreat you, Mrs. Guan? Please clarify." Mrs. Guan, feeling a mix of anger and anxiety, retorted, "Children can be talkative. He might have said something without any basis." "Madam Qiao, why are you dwelling on this matter? Do you suspect that I instructed him? It's absurd. Why would I teach my son to say such things? What benefit would it bring me to teach him that?" That was Mrs. Guan's response. Qiao Xian's lingering suspicion further fueled Mrs. Guan's frustration. She genuinely had not coached her son to make such statements, she had never uttered anything of the sort in his presence. Puzzled as to why her son had intervened on her behalf, she speculated that the nanny and maidservants might have shared something with him. Mrs. Guan, however, saw her son's actions as considerate rather than misguided. Moreover, he hadn't harmed Qiao Xian, he had merely kicked one of the maids a few times, which she considered inconsequential. Seizing the moment to assert herself, Qiao Xian coldly stated, "That is your concern, and it doesn't involve me. If you don't offer an explanation, this matter won't be dropped." Suddenly, Qiao Xian winced, placing her hands on her belly. "My stomach is in pain. It hurts." Li Xia, Li Qiao, and the others were thrown into a panic. Chapter 1670, Shocked Madam. "Don't be afraid. Madam, you must be shocked. Madam, please be all right. Get a doctor. Where's old master? Go and tell him." Ayuro, Li Xia, Li Qiao, and the others were panicking, and Mrs. Guan was startled too. She quickly instructed someone to help Qiao Xian sit down. Despite the pain, Qiao Xian scolded them. "Don't come here. Don't come here." Mrs. Guan stiffened and concealed her inner fury. What kind of look was that? "I am so sorry for what happened today. I will hold a banquet for you another day. I am so sorry." Qiao Xian threw a look at the crowd and gestured for Li Xia and Li Qiao to assist her. Kaiyue, Kaihua, and the others hurriedly followed. Mrs. Guan seethed with anger. She had organized the reception banquet, and it ended up like this. How unlucky. Uncertain if Qiao Xian's stomachache was genuine or an act, Mrs. Guan, amidst the chaos, couldn't discern the truth. Nevertheless, she felt compelled to check and express concern, given the situation. Forced to smile, Mrs. Guan bid farewell to everyone. Recognizing that the reception banquet had concluded prematurely due to the incident, the guests swiftly conveyed polite sentiments, expressed concern for Madame Qiao, and departed one by one. After apologizing, Mrs. Guan instructed the housekeeper to see off the guests and then hurried to the east courtyard. Qiao Xian was startled, but her stomach did not hurt. However, Mrs. Guan's attitude was so irritating that she couldn't let it slide without causing some trouble. When Mrs. Guan arrived, Qiao Xian was feigning pain, and Li Xia and the others were anxiously trying to comfort her. Soon, Xiao Yunduan rushed in. Wife. Although Qiao Xian had been pretending, seeing Xiao Yunduan made her feel wronged. She started crying in his arms, complaining about how frightened she was. Xiao Yunduan's heart ached. He gently patted her shoulders and offered words of comfort. Then he shot a cold look at Mrs. Guan. Standing there, Mrs. Guan felt extremely embarrassed, unsure whether to stay or leave. She even regretted following them in. Now that she was crying and being comforted by her husband, it was not appropriate for Mrs. Guan to interrupt, let alone turn around and leave. When the doctor finally arrived, Xiao Yunduan asked the doctor to examine Qiao Xian. Mrs. Guan's heart raced as she nervously awaited the doctor's verdict. The diagnosis revealed that Qiao Xian had experienced a miscarriage and needed to rest in bed. She was prescribed medicine for 3 days and advised to return for a follow-up. Xiao Yunduan nodded, instructing the doctor to write the prescription and procure the medicine. He assisted Qiao Xian in lying down and instructed her to rest well. Then he stood up and turned to Mrs. Guan. Mrs. Guan, please come this way. Mrs. Guan finally seized an opportunity to speak. She let out a sigh of relief and forced a smile. Lord Xiao, actually Mrs. Guan, please. Let's discuss this outside. We mustn't disturb my wife's rest. She cannot endure any more shocks. Taken aback, Mrs. Guan nodded and left. In the hall, DeputyPrefect Guan was also present. Upon learning that Madame Qiao had a miscarriage but was otherwise fine, he felt relieved. Mrs. Guan, eager to explain herself, hurriedly said, Lord Qiao, this is all a misunderstanding. The child is still young and inexperienced. Chapter 1671, Interrogation Misunderstanding. Xiao Yunduan shot them a cold look. I don't see any misunderstanding here. Both Mrs. Guan and her husband were taken aback by Xiao Yunduan's unexpected rudeness. They looked somewhat surprised, and Mrs. Guan couldn't help but interject, Lord Xiao, Madame Qiao is fine, isn't she? Of course, I failed to take good care of her today, and for that, I apologize. Mrs. Guan made the apology sound like a reluctant concession. If she had known she was in a futile competition with Qiao Xian and wanted to outdo her in every aspect, she might have chosen to apologize earlier, realizing it felt as though she had slapped herself in the face. Xiao Yunduan grew angrier, glaring sharply at Mrs. Guan. In your eyes, my wife might seem fine after the shock, but what if something had gone wrong? You've certainly taught your son well, considering his young age. Mrs. Guan disliked hearing disparaging remarks about her son. Lord Xiao, that's going too far. Jiar is just a child. Had he been a few years older, Mrs. Guan might have realized the potential consequences. Indignant, Mrs. Guan retorted, what do you mean by that? Xiao Yunduan sneered. How do you plan to explain your young master's absurd words to me? Where did he hear such ridiculous things? Mrs. Guan, dissatisfied and eager to argue, was stopped by DeputyPrefect, who wore an amiable expression that softened people's anger. His demeanor and smile left a positive impression. He courteously cupped his hands. Lord Xiao, please calm down. This woman is ignorant and inarticulate. She doesn't know how to express herself. Lord Xiao, disregard her. It's all her fault. She failed to take proper care of the child. Fortunately, Madame Qiao is blessed. Otherwise, I would never forgive this woman. Once Madame Qiao is better, I'll have her prepare a gift before coming to apologize sincerely. Naturally, we will cover the expenses for the treatment and medicine. We won't allow Lord to spend any more money. He continued to apologize profusely with a bitter smile. Jar is still young and doesn't know any better. I don't know who's spreading rumors, but Lord Qiao, please believe me. I have no intention of interfering in your governance of this state. My wife harbors no ill intentions either. I will thoroughly investigate this matter and provide you with a clear explanation. Xiao Yunduan's fury did not diminish. However, Guan Jialing was genuinely just a child who lacked understanding. Arguing with such an insensible child would serve no purpose. That was precisely why Mrs. Guan felt empowered to maintain her self-righteous and nonchalant attitude. Given Deputy Prefect Guan's comprehensive explanation, Xiao Yunduan found himself with little more to say. After Deputy Prefect concluded his statements, a cold silence enveloped the room, and the atmosphere turned increasingly oppressive. Mrs. Guan, sensing the need to break the silence, attempted to clear her throat but found herself hesitating for some unknown reason. Even Deputy Prefect Guan, usually composed, felt an inexplicable unease. After a brief pause, Xiao Yunduan spoke icily. Since Deputy Prefect Guan has spoken, I will await your thorough investigation and your son's discipline. You need not attend the government office for the time being.